begin. So I'll read out this little intro bit, then Moots will say, hi, I'm Moots, I'm short. Aaron will say, hi, I'm Aaron, I have acne. And then you can say, hi, I'm Arthur. Or whatever it is.
Oh, that's my joke, I'll kill you!
Right, wonderful. Let's get this show on the road. Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Astartes Anonymous podcast. And Happy New Year. We hope you had some wonderful holidays and are looking forward to a wonderful and productive 2024. Today, we have an episode with the incredible Mr. Bones, aka Arthur Bones, aka Connor, about the pros and cons of the Primarch. So, once again, I am trapped in a ceramite coffin with a Swedish dwarf, an English bodybuilder, and the sexiest servo skull in the entire 40k community. I'm your host, Tom, and these are my co-hosts.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Lucas, or better known as Moots.
Hello people, I'm Aaron, and this year, I'm really gonna do it.
What the
Hi, I'm Arthur. And also scared now, I guess, but we're out here.
How are we doing this evening, gentlemen?
Doing good. Just looking forward to this new fantastic year.
Yeah, I'm like a solid 6 out of 10, but can't complain.
What about you, Aaron? How are you doing this fine New Year's 5th of January evening?
5th of January, yes, definitely today.
We're definitely not recording this in advance.
Nope.
No, at this point in time, I am quite glorious. After New Year's, that's when things get difficult.
So, today, for your enjoyment, lovely viewers, we are skipping the Moles of the Week just because we got what could potentially be a slightly longer episode than usual about the Primarchs. And with us once again is the wonderful Mr. Bones 40k, aka Arthur. We have been looking forward to this collab for so long. It's so good to have you, Arthur.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I know that we've been trying to kind of put this together for quite some time, and it's just been falling through just because, I've been going places and our schedules just haven't been aligning, but I'm glad to actually finally be here, and I am excited to talk about 20 guys with daddy issues. Or 18
Excellent.
guys. Well, actually 19, but Alpharius Omegon or... Yeah.
I'm going to have to put down my bolt gun there.
Numbers are scary. But fortunately, because Red is not here, we can guarantee, mostly, that you will leave here alive.
Yeah.
There's no suspiciously shaped package coming for your door.
I mean, the guy's already a bag of bones. He's not alive to begin with, son.
Bag of bones. He's a fucking servo skull. You see that right there, Aaron? Just over there? That's a fucking whole-ass servo skull.
I'm going to hit it with my fucking bat. That's what I'm going to do.
You're going to throw that little nurgling on top of your head at it.
Yeah. We're going to, nurgling upon the,
Bouncing around the room like a fucking ping pong ball.
There's an animated skit there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot you can do with a servo skull. So I'm told.
They have eye sockets, ladies and gentlemen.
I would hope so.
That's at least a little bit fetish friendly, but that's not what we're talking about.
No.
Xenos episode.
No. Let's steer it away.
We haven't gotten to Fulgrim just yet.
So, do I have things to say about Fulgrim?
Oh boy. So,
don't we all?
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, let us move on to our first entry in this list. We are going down the list in a slightly weirder way. You might be thinking we'll go by either loyalist or traitor or, maybe first to 20th, but no. We're doing it by the order in which they were found because that was the first list on Google I found. So we are going to start with Horus Lupercal, aka the Primarch of the Lunar Wolves, Sons of Horus. Kind of the Black Legion, but not really.
So Horus Lupercal sucks.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Horus Lupercal sucks.
I mean, okay, he does. Honestly, every time I read about him in the Horus Heresy, he just fucking blows. He's just the king of daddy issues. Of all the people who have daddy issues, even Mortarion pales in comparison. Because every single paragraph, even before he falls to chaos, it's just man, I love when my dad compared me to that horse that one time. Man, it sucks that he made me and charge of the entire fleet. Dude, you're single-handedly the most powerful being in the universe next to the Emperor. You have entire swaths of armies. I know it's difficult, but, like, it's kind of cool. At least think it's a little cool.
I don't know, man. Like the very first line of dialogue he had in Horus Rising, which for anyone who doesn't know is the first book in the Horus Heresy series, that very first line, and again, I didn't actually read anything about Horus until that point. Yes, I knew the memes like everyone else did, but when I read that first line of dialogue when he was talking to Garviel Loken at the top of the spire, I was like, this guy's a Chad. This guy has huge, absolutely enormous dick energy. I mean, obviously that changed a little bit over the coming years, but yeah, he makes the first impression, and no one can deny that.
Well, yeah, he has an undeniable charisma, which, to be fair, the fuck?
My fucking fire alarm is going off, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh shit, live death? Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, if you guys would like to continue the pod... Oh, and it's gone off again.
Oh.
It has been solved. I wonder which of my siblings has burnt their pizza.
Oh yeah, siblings. I just assumed it was Red who was coming to get us finally.
The intruder alarm.
If it was Red, he wouldn't have set off any alarms, all right?
No, that's true.
I'd have just gone silent. There might have been a blood-curdling death croak or something, but that would have been it.
We just hear a...
God, dead.
Wayward sounds of a twisting metal turkey baster for some ungodly reason.
Oh, don't even think about that. A Red's version of the fucking Demunculaba. I don't want to think about that.
No. We're getting to the pros and cons of Perturabo later. Hold up.
Yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry, we'll get there.
Yep.
Have to stay focused.
But yeah,
wherever the fuck I was, extremely charismatic. But I mean, man, as you said, Bones, was he an insecure little bitch?
He has such a manufactured personality, which is why he kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I have very volatile opinions about Primarchs, but I love every single one of them, except for Lorgar. That guy we'll get to him.
No, we're not in Lorgar yet. Once we get to Lorgar, I've got something to say, but we'll hold it.
Yeah, we'll have our filibusters later, don't worry. But, I remember there was, a single line of dialogue, I think in either Horus Rising or the second or third book, where he mentions that, his accent's fake. He was from Chthonia, but he had, a naturally Terran accent. He decided to pick, an accent that was from, the lowland hives that were there to seem like he was more of, a common man. And I'm like, man... what a fucking poser.
It's really... I know this is way off topic, but do you know Charlize Theron, the actress, sorry?
No.
Wait, say that name again?
Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron?
That's how Americans pronounce it. So, Charlize Theron...
What?
Is hold on, I've got a point to make. You know what I'm about to say. She is South African. And she does the same thing. Her natural accent, whenever she does interviews, she throws it in the bin. And she puts on an American accent.
Interesting.
Just like Horus Lupercal.
Horus is just like Charlize Theron. There we go.
Horus is Furiosa confirmed.
Who's like...
Fuck it, we'll give him a couple points for that one.
But seriously, back to the pros and cons specifically. Do we have any pros for Horus Lupercal, or do we have any cons, ladies and gentlemen?
I mean, you'd become a fucking solid as fuck warrior. You'd get militarized to fuck.
That's true.
But you don't want to fuck with him. Warmaster for a reason. Fair is fair.
Yeah.
But his temper tantrums are actually on the level of Perturabo. It's
we can't escape Perturabo.
No.
Yeah.
It's
something about bold dudes and anger issues. I don't know. Can you two say anything on that?
Shut the fuck up, Tom.
This is I don't know. I'm just rubbing my bald head here. This feels.
Fuck you! I'm rubbing my bald head with you.
You're outnumbered, Aaron. What are you going to do?
Mother of God.
You've angered the Horuses in us.
Would you boys like some wigs? I kind of feel sad for you.
So yeah, a big pro with Horus is basically, for lack of a better way to put it, he's if you took Roboute Guilliman, mix him with Rogal Dorn, and put too much of Perturabo in him. So he has like the perfect strategic mind. He's the only person who had a chance at overthrowing the Imperium. It's just that quite literally he bet on the wrong horse.
Well, I mean, it's really interesting you say that because Voldemort said, I don't know, hopefully I'm not misquoting, but I'm pretty sure Voldemort said some time ago that in a video about maybe, I think it was about Perturabo, that Perturabo is kind of the foil for Guilliman in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And you sort of, if you sit back and look at the Horus Heresy as a very generalistic sense, Roboute Guilliman and his legion didn't actually have to deal with Horus and the Sons of Horus all that much, especially compared to the other legions. No. Didn't have to deal with the Sons of Horus very much from a comparative standpoint. But the similarities between the two of them, it's kind of mental because Horus, if you take away the insecurity and you take away the chaos, he is without and this is a pro, by the way. We're going to quickly jumping over to pros before we jump back to cons. He is without a doubt the most solid Primarch.
Yeah.
Like 100%, it's just everything that, the Gerard Butler perfect storm, everything went wrong. The perfect storm of everything going tits up to turn him into such a colossal man-child.
Like, this is also like a pro on top of that. Like, he's genuinely, maybe next to Guilliman, the best strategist in the entirety of the Imperium.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if I remember correctly, the spear tip method of combat, like, that the Sons of Horus are fucking known for is such an effective method of combat that every other legion was like asking him to be like, hey, could you show me how to do this? Because this is actually like a very effective method of like attacking a planet.
Yeah.
Well, I could be completely wrong here, but I mean, that tactic is still being used by modern day chapters because it was so effective. Or if I remember correctly, it was like the spears of the Emperor.
Yeah.
Who, right.
That's
no, wait. Yeah, no, I was just mixing the one. The spears of the Emperor were named for that, if I remember correctly.
But it's interesting you bring that up because, or at least a quality that Horus has that all the other Primarchs were envious of. Because in sort of putting this list together and seeing the order, the fucking stupid ass order in which we're going to do this, I realized something that I hadn't actually quite clocked before. Horus Lupercal got almost 20 years with just him and the Emperor. 20 whole motherfucking years. And during those 20 years, for the majority of that time, maybe not for the majority, but for a good chunk of that time, he actually fought with the Emperor. In a way, he got combat tutoring from the Master of Mankind that none of the other Primarchs had. And by extension of that, his legion did too.
Oh, for sure.
It's an absolutely, and it sort of reinforces that thing I said before about how he was the best Primarch in a militaristic sense, just because of what he'd been through and the extra things he had gotten. Really interesting fucking character. And once again, it is a shame that he turned into a man-child that outshone Perturabo. And I love Perturabo, but outshone Perturabo in every facet.
And that is partially because of all that time he spent with dear old dad.
Yeah.
Because,
I didn't think of that. Yeah.
Because then when dear old Big E left, he was left without that. The guiding hand, which is in effect what happened. He became so reliant on the Emperor that when the Emperor left, he was like, "Fuck, what do I do now?"
It's like that meme about, I don't want to take it to a terrible place, but it's that meme about fatherless behavior.
Oh, no.
About fucking
what? I missed that, what?
Fatherless behavior.
I mean, I mean, if the shoe fits, right?
You see? I mean, there's no father like the Emperor of Mankind. I mean, maybe that's for the best,
Yeah, I mean, don't boo him. He's right. So yeah, pros, good tactician, genuinely, up. Just at minimum, if you got rid of the Perturabo bits, I actually the best Primarch overall. But cons, the Perturabo bits that just suddenly became a quadratic equation exponentially growing with the addition of chaos and Lorgar.
I'm sorry, I love how we're using Perturabo as a synonym for daddy issues.
You're implying he's anything else.
I mean, to be fair, it just sounds better than using Mortarion, because that doesn't sound as good, but it is what it is.
Rude.
Shut up, Plague Marine boy. Well, it's quite funny because if you look at the pros as well from the perspective of his legion, so much more than I'd say the majority. I mean, maybe on par with some of the other legions, but so much more than the majority of the other legions. There was a sense of fealty. I mean, there was always fealty, but there was a sense of true fealty to him that was only ever really matched by Lorgar. I mean, we shit on Lorgar as much as we want, but he was the only one that didn't have to decimate a third of his fucking legion. And that sort of thing that he inspired within his troops. I mean, you I think it was in Horus Rising, the book, about how his troops were chanting Lupercal, or the War Master, and how Garviel was just uncomfortable with it, but he could see how his brothers were so ready and so quick to jump on Horus as, Horus is the guy in charge. We know the Emperor's back there, but Horus is the man, It's a wonderful, and you can look at Abaddon. I mean, Abaddon with Horus's tutelage, 10,000 years later, this bastard's still fucking about. We've got
the People's Primarch.
We've got Mortarion, we've got Magnus, we've got the Red One, and they're all fucking about.
Fucking what?
But no, none of them are in charge. None of them are in charge. It's Abaddon because of that tutelage of Horus, or maybe not because of, but certainly in large part too.
Yeah, he got the big dickhead genes from fucking Horus. I guess that's the best way to describe Abaddon. He's head big dickhead. That's it. That's who he is. Why did he win this war? Because he's the biggest dickhead there. Oh,
that's true.
He was trying to strike up a peace. Killed everybody.
We can't even argue that it's because he's bald, because he has a fucking top knot. He's just a bastard because.
Okay.
I mean, you tell me, boys.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm just gonna be straight with you. Having a top knot is just bald plus. It's just
bald plus.
It's just refusing to let go. Just let it. Dude. You have one piece of hair. Let it go. It's not coming back. It's not gonna be a thing.
That's it.
Bold platinum.
Tom Law. I saw the signs when I was 18. Right. And do you know what scared me the most? It wasn't going bald. It was the sheer insecurity of men who couldn't accept it. And Moots and maybe Connor as well. We had to embrace that, You have to. You grab it by the fucking horns and you pull it and you go, yep, this is me. Could you imagine being fucking Horus's age, however the fucking old Horus was, several hundred years old, and go, I'm bald and I'm still pissed off about it? Could you imagine that? Fuck that.
I'm sorry, I am not with you. This is the grim, dark future of the 31st millennia. Get fucking hair plugs. Calm down. It's fine.
There's an STC for that.
Right? They found a way to cure cancer on several planets using psychic magic. I'm pretty sure they could, silly putty use some fucking hair.
Oh, God. Could you imagine the toupees they had in the year 31,000, bro?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness.
Right, gentlemen, shall we talk about and discuss the king of the Space Wolves, the King Wolf, Leman Russ, Primarch of the Space Wolves. What legion are they? They are the 6th Legion. Yes.
Yes.
Shall we talk about Big Daddy Viking?
All right. First off, he's Nordic.
Yeah.
Big plus. Big plus.
Remember, everybody, Moose
Automatic
is very
win.
Swedish. It's in his blood. He can't help it.
Yes, I am very Swedish. I like Leman Russ because he is just like me, for real.
Shut the fuck up. Honest, stop.
Cool.
When I come back from Sweden, I better be speaking like that. That's what I'm saying.
I can't wait for the shit talking you're going to have to deal with in Sweden that you won't be able to identify.
Moots has gone through a phase of calling me Magic the Gathering cards as insults. I didn't realise. I thought it was Swedish. So there's going to be another level of bullshittery to come.
Oh, goodness. So, Leman Russ. He is... so, Horus got 18 years, or 18, 20 years with the Emperor before Leman came along. And then Leman got a whole, I think it was 6 years? Let me go check. I think Leman got like a whole 6 fucking years with just Horus. Yeah, it was 6 years with just Horus and the Emperor before they found another Primarch. So it was just, Leman and Horus and the Emperor for a very long fucking time. I remember...
Horus, Emperor, and their dog.
Horus, Emperor, and the dog. I remember...
And that dog.
I remember Leman's first ever discussion with Horus and the sort of the wolf analogies they used. It was teetering on furryism. But... I do like Leman. It's a good job Red's not here, because Red would just be saying Leman shit over and over again. For context, audience, Red, our missing Night Lord, he's not a big fan of the Space Wolves. He is, fully all in on the furry jokes, fully in there.
Don't you worry, I have some choice words to say about him as well. He's not all great.
I, in Red's absence, will incorporate his spirit. Beginning now. No.
Okay, so hands together, clap. I'm just gonna lay it down. Leman Russ sucks. He's the definition. He's like the personification of the phrase "Don't let the truth get in the way of a good yarn." Because it's like looking at like modern day Space Wolf lore. By the way, I fucking hate Space Wolves. I don't hate them. I think some of them are cool. I like the Wolf Spear, which is a Descendant chapter, and I think some of the novels are cool. But like, I have a bone to pick with any Space Marine chapter that you could look at one guy doing a single thing and be like, I got that. Yeah, okay, I know what they're about. It's like they're Vikings, they are wolves, and they are I don't even think they can count that high. So like that's the two things. But Leman Russ is just king drunk dickhead. Like
low IQ confirmed.
Exactly.
No, it's really interesting you said it, because I had a binge. Do you guys know Oculus Imperia, the YouTube channel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great
stuff.
My god. I listened to his 6 whole fucking hour playlist on the Burning of Prospero, right?
Prospero.
Yeah. And I loved it. I've listened. I keep Moots is getting bored because I've actually brought this up several times in private. I fucking love Oculus Imperia's playlist on the Burning of Prospero. But one thing that taught me is Leman Russ, he doesn't give a shit about anything.
Yeah.
He would put a grudge over the value of the lives of anyone and anything. This guy is a moron.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the Space Wolves, but Leman Russ is a fucking tool. And I mean that. I don't mean that in the insult way. I mean, I do mean it in the insult way, but I mean it literally as well. This guy is, and he knows he's a tool, and he's okay with it.
Yeah.
And there's just something about him that's so... I mean, there's also the fact that he's super easy to fucking manipulate as far as Primarchs go. Yeah. He's like the gullible kid that if you say, the gullible kid in school, if you say, if you go stick your tongue in the fucking Play-Doh, you'll get superpowers, and ends up eating an entire jar before a teacher comes along and stops him. That's Leman Russ.
What do you mean, Tom? What do you mean, Tom? You don't? You don't get superpowers?
I forgot that Leman Russ was Swedish.
Oddly enough,
that explains a lot.
I have the exact opposite opinion. I think Leman Russ, he sucks, but I adore how fucking stupid he is. I am going to have the most double speak bullshit to say about Curze, but it's going to start here with Leman Russ, where he is unironically just an asshole who's like super ADHD core to the point where he got so bored one day he went to hell. He hasn't come back. He just took his best guys and went into the eye of hell and hasn't come back. And every time someone pisses him off, he's just like, fuck you, I'm gonna kill you. And then I'm going to say, oh, you got eaten by the bears. And I'm like, oh, it makes sense. There's big bears. And he's just he's got a brain full of fucking rocks, and I think that's good for him. But all of the stories of like, oh yeah, and then Leman Russ threw a spear so hard the clouds parted, ooh, and then everybody in the drinking hall slams their cups down, and they just start singing some like drinking song about smashing frogs on tops of wolves or some shit. But and all of that is so mind-numbingly fucking stupid, and I love it.
Yep.
I love every fucking second.
I mean, I think that's a pro to Leman, at least from a narrative standpoint. He's a brick, and he knows he's a brick. You know, like there's no.
I'm going to go do brick things.
Yeah, literally.
Right?
There's no subtlety with Leman Russ. There is just here's a heavy object. It's like the idea of, well, if you had a hammer, you'd solve problems with a hammer. Leman Russ is a fucking hammer.
Yeah, right.
And he knows he's a hammer. You know.
I wish Magnus had won.
I unironically do wish he'd won, so let's not go there.
Same. That entire fustercluck made me hate Magnus more, but like, it was... He didn't deserve it, but like... Man, a phone call? Like, you could have just been like, hey, we're not going to fight back. Just never mind. Continue.
No, we're going there. Because I want to go there. Like, I fucking love the Heresy era Thousand Suns, right? But as soon as that 1,000 Suns captain or sorcerer tried to resurrect a fucking titan from the dead and ended up opening a fucking warp rift because of it, it was like, yeah, these guys are arrogant as fuck. Like, the Space Wolves might be dense, but these guys are kind of getting what they deserve. Like, really, you know?
Quite literally so smart, they loop back around to being like 3 IQ, like chimps trying to operate telephones.
Shoehorse Fury at its greatest. Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you guys. I was gonna say a lot of bad things about Leman, but you guys have already covered most of it now.
Yeah, I feel like that's the great thing about Leman. That's a pro in Leman's favor. Just like the brick thing, he's so simplistic. Right? He's such a simple concept of a character or a narrative tool or a narrative. I didn't mean tool in the insulting way that way.
Oh, wait, sorry. I'm just gonna role play as a Space Wolf fan here. Actually, he's just pretending to be dumb. He's actually really smart. Okay, he planned everything. He knew he was being manipulated. I swear.
Yeah, keep going. Tell me about that one time he almost beat Angron in a fight and totally let him win. That was so great. That was so great.
Yeah, absolutely.
You let it. Joke's on you. I was only pretending to be an idiot.
See, this is why the Lion. This is why Lionel Johnson doesn't like Leman. It's not because he's incapable. He's not incapable. It's not because he's weak. Because he's not weak. It's because he's a fucking moron. It's just that fucking simple.
Difference between incapable and incompetent.
Yeah, literally.
Okay, hot take. I think like the Lion and Leman have quite literally the same like monkeys banging sticks on rocks IQ, but like they just represent it too differently. Like, Leman does not give a shit. He acts on a whim and will. I think this is like a good pro for him. Like, if you want someone who like go do this, he's on it. Like, he does not overthink it. He does not like. He'll never second guess you. Like, if you tell him to do something, he will do it.
Yeah.
The Lion, on the other hand. Fuck. Fucking 10 years, he'll have to like consult the oracles, he'll have to like talk to his guys, get the inner circle involved and be like, yo, should we like trust this shit? And it's why like some of my again, this is a lore and like story writing pro. When you see the Lion and Leman interacting, genuinely some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. Like the age-old story
examples of sorry, come on.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is a perfect example of unintentional comedy. It's like you can tell the writers didn't mean to make it unintentionally hilarious, but they did. You know,
there's differences between like low functioning and high functioning people. Is that you've got both examples right there.
Someone who takes things not seriously and someone who takes things too seriously.
Oh, goodness. Anyways, gentlemen, should we talk about Headless Nick himself, the man with the plan and the iron hands?
We never even talked about the benefits. We just fucking mugged off the fucking. We mugged him up for like 15 minutes. Enough said, I guess.
Listen, to the Space Wolf fans, Space Wolf fans, you guys are great. I love the Space Wolves. I really like the Space Wolves, but your Primarch's a tool, right? Let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
No. I've got it sorted. Benefits. Alcohol. Negatives.
Oh, hell yeah.
Alcoholism.
Okay. If I can, I'll give you like genuine pros. Like genuine pros, he's quite literally the most free-spirited Primarch next to like maybe Jagatide.
That's true.
The Space Wolves genuinely have fun. They
do.
It's not like I enjoy my duty. They just have fun. They drink, they party. There's a lot of old lore that's probably not canon anymore where they fuck actual women, which is terrifying to think about. But like, I think that's a cool thing. He encourages his sons to enjoy life to its fullest and not in like some pussy shit like, go paint the picture. Nah, go I don't know.
Blood angel
just
slander,
get money, that
blood
thing,
angel
right?
slander.
Yeah. The classical Varangian lifestyle, like that shit.
All right. Space Wolf fans, the incredible Mr. Bones 40k has saved Leman Russ. Now, we shall move on to the man with the plan, the man with the iron hands, Ferrus Manus, Headless Nick himself.
I love that guy.
$5 says we're going to say more about him than there's actual writing about. Yeah, that's...
No.
I'm sorry, we're going to have to go into that being the biggest con ever, and this is... I'm sorry to go off on this.
No, you're right, you should.
I do this a lot. Okay, I'm super ADHD, so like, I'm going through the Horus Heresy completely raw. I'm just raw dogging this entire fucking series. And like book 1 to like book whatever the fuck it ends at. And I am like, man, this series is pretty good, pretty okay. And then I got to Fulgrim, and Fulgrim has some like high highs and low lows and some very fucking creamy middles, but like
it's a very Fulgrim thing to say.
Okay, listen. When I was getting in there, I read the book and I was like, oh, fuck, Ferrus is here. That's awesome. And then he dies in the first book he's introduced in. What? Why? You can't just stretch that out a little bit?
Take him before his time.
You're absolutely right. And anyone who knows anything about my... my voice broke there. Anyone who knows anything about my homebrewing knows that I'm a huge fan of homebrewing Iron Hands and Iron Hands successors. And the biggest con, in my opinion, of Ferrus Manus is, in short, his legacy. You know, no legion, no chapter or set of successors has diverged so painfully from the real good things that their Primarch stood for. Obviously, there's...
So edit this out, I'm going to go piss.
And go enjoy yourself. Obvious...
Pissa vill, pissa hårt.
I'm going to put subtitles for that in the caption. No Primarch has had it so bad in the realm of their legion, truly diverting from what they stood for. In fact, a really good sort of comparison I feel is, you know, the before and after of the Blood Angels, right? Before and after Sanguinius, the sheer, you know, what they were. Take that, but turn it the other way around when it comes to a moral perspective and a values perspective, and that's what happened to the Iron Hands after Ferrus decided to be one head short. You know, it's a real fucking shit. And I love the Iron Hands. I love Iron Hand successors. I love homebrewing Iron Hands. I've got a real fucking soft. And again, anyone who knows the channel, knows what we do in our community, knows that I'm a huge fan of homebrewing and homebrewing Iron Hands. And it's just such a ruddy shame that, again, coming back to what Bones said, it's such a ruddy fucking shame that Ferrus didn't have anywhere near the development that his brothers got. And yes, I know someone had to be the scapegoat. Someone had to, you know, get a heavy haircut. But why did it have to be him? Why couldn't it have been Leman? You know?
If only. If only.
You took the wrong side.
I completely agree. I think it's like genuinely disappointing. Because like towards the end, like right towards the end of the Crusade, Ferrus was kind of looking at his legion, was like, man, maybe we shouldn't strive for perfection in all things. Yeah. They're kind of getting a little weird. And he looked at his arms and was like, yeah, I'm going to take these off when I get back and everything's all over. And I'm going to teach them proper morals. And then died. He died.
Yeah.
which sucked.
It's a true shame. I remember a excerpt, and I don't quote me on the book because I don't know. In fact, I may be talking out my arse, but I don't think I am. There was a wonderful excerpt about how the Emperor himself had a conversation with, I believe it was Ferrus. And they were looking at Vulkan. And we'll come back to this in a minute. Well, not in a minute, in a few minutes, when we talk about Vulkan. About how, because obviously Ferrus and Vulkan, those two are the master blacksmiths, right? When it comes to building shit, we can talk about Ferrus's little showdown with Fulgrim. But truly, it's Ferrus and it's Vulkan. And he was talking to Ferrus about, the value of Vulkan's humanity. And Ferrus, despite being the autistic, heavy-handed, literally, fellow that he was, he understood that, and then, and again, coming back to what Bones said, cut off right when it was starting to get good. Could you have imagined how interesting a character he'd have been if he was given appearances in just another 2 or 3 books? He still could have bit the dust, but another 2 or 3 books worth of development on Ferrus I'd have been so fucking happy, Yeah. Although I say that now, I imagine if I got them, I'd have just been sat there wishing for more, to be fair.
Right. Genuinely, Fulgrim should have been divided into 3 books.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Fulgrim should be divided into 3 fucking separate pieces, in my fucking opinion, but yeah, sure.
Snake channel all nowadays.
Yeah. I think as a con, you could basically say that Ferrus, well, not on purpose, but he was pretty slow to act. He was too slow to act, even, you could say. He should have done what he wanted to do before he got abruptly cut off. But it's that's the real shame of Ferrus Manus. Cons is he seems to have inspired a lot of pretty cool successor chapters in this server, in this team.
I think I got 2 pros, 2 cons. First pro, okay, you're going to hear me say this a lot about some of these Primarchs that I'm really affectionate towards, but Ferrus Manus is just unironically based as fuck because the Emperor showed up on his home planet and he's like, fuck you! And then just fucking war immediately. Fuck him. He looks like me. I don't give a shit. Kill him.
It's on sight! It's on sight! Human of all reactions.
Yeah, buried himself in a mountain, was just and the Emperor Gesser's like, dude, what the fuck? And Ferrus is like, I just want to see if I could. And he's like, you knew you couldn't. He's like, yeah, but I didn't try. And I'm like,
Ferrus Manus' Bucky Han were confirmed.
Exactly. So con-wise, Ferrus is he's not afraid to experiment, but he is like iron. He's very unbending, unchanging. But he is slow to kind of change, and he will eventually. And that's kind of the big difference between him and Perturabo. When Perturabo is iron within and iron without. Literally, the iron on Ferrus Manus is skin deep. Yeah. It is going to be removed and changed. He's not an iron person all the way through, so he's going to evolve, or at least he was, and then you're dead.
I got that the old haircut.
Didn't evolve another head back serving.
Yeah. And I like the fact that he can form friendships, and that's another thing that's the other pro that I wanted to give, is that he isn't unwilling to concede his points. He met his twink brother Fulgrim and was like, you look stupid, and Fulgrim's like, you're so fucking ugly, you make everybody around you turn into stone. And they just kind of look at each other and they're like, did we just become best friends? And that's literally how it happened. and they were best friends. They were the closest brothers out there, and it's because they balanced each other and they saw that. Cons, the 2 cons that I have, one, not enough lore, and Iron Hand's lore I'm sorry, it sucks. Iron Hand's lore it's all shitty, it's terrible, and there's not enough of it. And it's not because, when I say I don't like Blood Angels lore, that's because I just don't fucking like Blood Angels. But with Iron Hand's lore,
controversial opinion, fucking hitting the planet at fucking Mach speed. Continue, please.
What? Really? Okay. Trust me, when we get to Sanguinius.
One of the best 40k fucking lore tubers on the planet, and he doesn't know that the fucking Blood Angels are so beloved. Jesus Christ, my man.
I'm sorry you had to find out.
That's okay.
That's okay. But with Ferrus Manus and like the Iron Hands, the lore issues aren't so much that the lore is actually bad. There's some good stories in there. Like a good example is I just recently read a short story for a successor for them, and it was like a very obscure one, and they have a really shitty paint scheme, but I like it. It's cool. It's the Iron Lords.
I really love the Iron Lord's paint scheme. Why have you done this to me?
Oh, so you like a fucking black t-shirt, red pants Marines. I love those guys.
They remind me of Mario in some weird way, okay?
But so the problem, again, isn't that the lore is bad. It's that there's like 10 stories in, like, I'm like hyperbolizing it, but like there's like 10 stories, 7 of them are terrible, 3 of them are great. And just because there's not enough, it just makes the bad ones rise to the top. And I find that when people write for them, they overgeneralize. They're just like, oh, they're the robot guys. They do robot things. They're unthinking, uncaring. And they give them the same problems that like writing for the AdMech does, where they have to exhibit these key traits when those aren't the parts that people like. They like the humanity that is fighting its way through the machinery, not just the machinery.
Well, I'll throw it out there. Anyone who's interested in Iron Hands and wants to see the best of the Iron Hands, if you pick up any Iron Hands codex that has information on Ferrus in it, Iron Father Ferrus, he is such an astoundingly brilliant character that goes not only goes counterintuitive to the standard Iron Hands ethos, but goes through it in such a way that the majority of Iron Hands look up to him. They go, fuck me, you've got so much fucking humanity, I wish I could be like you. The other one I would show off as another example of that embrace that Iron Hands ethos, but are still amazing, and I'm very biased, Moots now, no I am, the Sons of Medusa during Badab. Pick up any Imperial Armor Compendium that goes over Badab and look at the Sons of Medusa. They're fucking exquisite. You know, they show off that that robotic, borderline autistic core of the Iron Hands in such a brilliant way that you can only be enthralled. I mean, maybe this is just my opinion, but really, it's incredible. It's utterly incredible. But yes, I will concede, Ferrus Manus as a character, he was cut short too soon, and yeah.
I just want to bring it back. I know it's completely unrelated, but I thought it was funny, your example of how he became friends with Fulgrim. It's actually funny because it's extremely similar to how I became friends with my brother from another mother, where we were at the playground. I was like 6. No, sorry, I was 5. He was like 7. And I remember he was playing on top of a rock, and I distinctly remember how I wanted to be playing on top of that rock. So I told him, hey, get off the rock, I want to play there. And he was like, no. And so I was like, all right, well, you have an ugly face. And he responded naturally by biting my arm. And
it's the most normal Swedish interaction.
Yeah. Okay. Swedish dominance at its finest.
Why? I have like a lot of friends who are like Swedes, and like every time they're like, "Yeah, this is a story from my childhood," it always has that exact same energy.
Violence and love. It's violence and love. The two go hand in hand. I remember a friend of mine being very sort of angsty towards me when I tried to tell him that love and hate was, you know, two sides of the same coin. But they are. They so well and truly are. And, you know, the story of Ferrus and Fulgrim exemplifies that so utterly brilliantly. And on that note, gentlemen, let's move on to the Primarch of the Emperor's Children, the femboy, the twink himself, Fulgrim.
Yeah, smash.
Shut the fuck up.
God damn it.
Fulgrim sucks.
Yeah, I bet he does. He swallows as well.
Listen. Okay, so I have so many issues with Fulgrim. But it all kind of... Okay, I'm going to start a conspiracy theory here, and I don't know if you guys agree with me. And I don't know if you guys have mentioned this before. Maybe you have. It's a common theory that, like, with 40k factions in general, people tend to pick factions that they are appealed to, but I find when it comes to the God-sworn legions, like, it's the exact opposite. So, people who tend to like the Emperor's Children or Slaaneshi warbands or Slaaneshi factions are just weirdly enough, like, ace as fuck, like asexual fucking prudes that they just don't care. And like that translates to every single other one because it's like Khorne worshippers, like people who play Khorne, softest spoken, kindest people you'll ever meet.
Yeah, it's like how you're in for a good game if your opponent is playing orcs. And it's not because of the game, it's because they're playing orcs. Therefore, they're a chill motherfucker who just wants to have a good time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Myself included, so
right?
It's same vibe of Nurgle. It's just the opposite vibes to what the actual person's fucking playing. These fat, jolly fucking plague marines with this fucking semi guy who looks like he goes to the gym a bit. And it's like, you don't line up.
Yeah,
but I'm not against this.
But so to bring it back to Fulgrim, I have such complicated opinions on Fulgrim because I have genuine beef with the fucking community.
My machinations on Fulgrim are beyond comprehension.
I just think y'all are fucking gross. Not you guys, but like the royal you is in like everybody who's listening. No. Because like every single Primarch is described as being quite literally like chiseled like a marble statue, looking like a Chad, perfect like mesomorph physique. Like all of them are like built like the Emperor. They all are. So when everybody's like, "Oh yeah, no, Fulgrim's a fucking skinny fat ass twink," I'm just like, he's not. But other than that, I'd say Fulgrim. If not the worst Primarch, I'd say he's like close to the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard because I mean, listening to you and I'm listening to Moots and Aaron, it's like I'm not a huge Emperor's Children fan, but I know enough, and I've been sat here trying to brainstorm pros for Fulgrim or pros for the Emperor's Children or pros for anything to do with Fulgrim. I can't think of a fucking thing.
I got a few.
Oh,
like, I just don't want to dominate everything. Like, I don't want to like put everybody on the spot. Make this the Arthur podcast.
Fucking do it, man. 100%. Go ahead.
Does anybody else have anything they want to say first before I go on my schizophrenic meltdown?
I guess I can start it off by saying that, I mean, whilst maybe not a master tactician on the same level as his other brothers, he wasn't inept at all, and by far his most impressive skill still was his dueling ability. He did have a very good record when it came to crafting. Let's not forget that obviously a lot of the Primarchs were good at crafting tools of great beauty, and Fulgrim wasn't any worse than those.
It is weird, though, isn't it? Yeah, that's a really good point, because when you think about Primarch, blacksmiths, you do think of you do think of Ferrus, you do think of Vulkan, but not very far behind at all is Fulgrim.
He made the most bedazzling butt plugs known to man.
Oh, God. That's actually a really good point, because even Ferrus Manus said Fulgrim was a better blacksmith than him.
Yeah.
During their competition, like, they mutually said, no, you won. So, in Ferrus's eyes, who was, again, second or first best blacksmith in the entire, like...
It's Vulkan. It's Vulkan. But yeah.
Yeah. It's Vulkan. but Ferrus looked at, I always forget, was it Vulkan that made... who made the hammer, who made the sword?
Fulgrim made the sword, and Ferrus made the hammer, but then the other one got it. So by the end... Ferrus had the sword and Fulgrim had the hammer, but only because
I thought it was the other way around.
No, it's weird, but I always remember because there's that one brilliant piece of artwork of Ferrus and Fulgrim fighting, and Ferrus is using the flame sword, which Fulgrim made him.
That's because, if I remember correctly, that's from Fulgrim, the book, where when Fulgrim was attacking him, he didn't have the demon sword on him, and he used Firebrand, the sword itself, to attack Vulkan, and Vulkan ripped it out of his hands. I'm actually you, so I'm gonna kill this point immediately.
No, you're right.
Probably right.
No, you're right. Holy shit! No, I've just done a full fucking stroke. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Ferrus made the sword.
Yeah. Okay,
What
I
the
was right.
No, you were right. I'm audience, please. If you disconnected before I fucking said that because I'm too stupid, I'm so sorry.
Listen, I am surprised that even I got it right. But Fulgrim is a master craftsman. Pros are I have this theory that I'm going to probably expand upon more in another video, but I have this idea that the reason why there are 20, 18, or 19 Primarchs, depending on who you ask, is this thing I call the twin Primarch theory, where the Emperor doubled down and gave similar abilities to in doubles of Primarchs. So I think that the double of Fulgrim, weirdly enough, is Guilliman, because their main abilities are politics. They are politicians, they are logisticians, and they have a strong emphasis on culture and artistry. Because if you look at the iconography of the Emperor's children prior to their fall, and the iconography of the Emperor, or not the Emperor's children, the Ultramarines, in their modern day, it's eagles, it is gold, it is bright, it is shiny.
Holy shit, that's...
Yeah.
I'd be really... I'm so sorry.
That's
I'd be really... I know it's gone a bit off topic, but I'd be really inclined to hear your thoughts. I know I'm backtracking by like 50 minutes. But your thoughts on the pair of Horus. Would it be Sanguinius? Because he's the only...
Rogal Dorn.
Oh, that makes so much sense now. What the fuck?
Yeah, because both of them are very iron-willed logisticians that have a focus for the details of strategy. They both have this concrete willpower and unbending mind for the improvement of mankind through one means or another. Because you forget that Horus's goals in the Horus Heresy was originally for the betterment of mankind. He just saw that Space Marines were going, like, his initial motivation was that, like, oh, Space Marines are going to get neglected because they're just weapons. They're not, like, actually people. So, once the war is over, what the fuck are we going to do? Meanwhile, you got Armin fucking making wine, and he's like, man, this shit's awesome. but like, every single member of the... Yeah. Every single one of the sons of Horus are just, like, they came from blue-collar worker... Like, the children of blue-collar workers and hive gangers, so all they know is violence. They were never taught to be it. Like, even if you look at Garviel Loken, he is brass tacks. He does not give a fuck about anything except his job. And that is very similar to the Imperial Fist, which are very much the same way.
Wow. Oh, man, I can't wait for that fucking video, bro. That's going to be so cool. You're committed now. You have to do
awesome.
it. Something like that. It's why I have. Wait till you hear what I think about Angron and his ability. Also, Angron sucks, but like we'll get there. Fuck you, my boy. But
and on that one, audio from that.
But yeah, pros. Fulgrim is like super politician. He's super artsy. He focuses on like the quality of life through improving quality of life through whatever means possible. Like if you look at how he improved Chemos, is super altruistic, super pragmatic, but he did have this idea that a strong cultural background is important, because if you, again, read the book Fulgrim, or you read the other book named Fulgrim, which is a different novel for some fucking reason.
Thanks, Black Library.
He stresses that his entire legion should, like, I think he even mandated it, that there's like, it's like a toddler's play schedule at like a preschool, and it's just like, oh, here's where we do our drills, here's where we do combat training, arts and crafts, and then naps. You have to have a segment of arts and crafts in the run of a day. So every single like member of the Emperor's children, they were forced to engage in arts and culture to enrich their personalities. Like, you know, the Ultramarines, but you know. So yeah, that's a big pro. Yeah. Cons, let me just get this fucking mile-long scroll about how Fulgrim just fucking blows.
Fair point.
Let's start counting. What he did to Ferrus, what he did to Roboute. The fact that he
picking up the damn stupid sword.
That's true.
That's number 1 through 17.
Yeah, what he did to Eldrad that one time. By the way, fuck Eldrad. Well, it's obligatory at this point. Tertiarily, everything he did to Rylanor. Drop site massacre, keeping Lucius alive for longer than, it took for him to take his first breath after he was out his mom. No, I'm not going to finish that sentence.
Good idea.
Sorry. Fulgrim sucks. But I have a soft spot for him. I unironically love the Emperor's Children. I think they're like a fun legion to enjoy, but Fulgrim himself just blows.
Well, I mean, coming in from that, that stereotypical Astartes Anonymous homebrew standpoint, it's very fucking hard to homebrew. I should have spoken about this in our homebrewing a Chaos Warband video, but it's very hard to homebrew Emperor's Children warbands because it's so by nature of what they are. It's so difficult to diverge from that stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
But that stereotype's fucking awesome as well.
Oddly enough,
so it's a really difficult space to be in. Anyways, gentlemen, let's move on to the huggiest, biggest black man in the galaxy, Vulkan of Nocturne, aka the Primarch of the Salamanders.
Yes!
Oh hell yeah! You gotta throw up that piece of art I made years and years ago when he's hugging all his brothers.
I absolutely will.
Yeah,
I absolutely will. And on that note, gentlemen, I need the loo. I'll be back in a minute. Please discuss.
Bye, Savort.
Put it on the screen.
So, what do you guys think about Vulkan?
I love that guy. My successor was based off of salamanders because I love them.
Mm-hmm.
They're just fucking not for the whole humanitarian sort of standpoint they have, but no, I do like that as well. Just the whole sort of Forge Master vibe. All of them are like masterful artisans and all make their own sort of kit or modify it to be masterpiece in its own right with the custom flamers and the volcano home planet. I like the whole vibe. It's all fucking cool. The retro scheme, I think, is better than their current scheme with the black and yellows, but that's a bitch in the ass to paint, so I can see why that got changed. But I love them. I like them. I like the fact that the planet is what actually turned them to the sort of pitch black they are.
Yeah.
Because of just Nocturne's atmosphere, which is nothing any of the other Marines really suffer from in any of the legions, as far as I'm aware. And it's just a cool fucking thing, man. They grew up in the harshest environments, but they're the nicest guys. It's like a kindness through strength sort of vibe. I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Run over.
I'll be honest, I don't know a full lot about Vulkan. He hasn't been, to me, what I would say the most interesting Primarch to read about, though I am currently in the process of changing that, reading the anthology series, the book, the fucking Sons of the Emperor, because in there's this great little bit about Vulkan, and when he hasn't just met the Emperor, and he's it's so wholesome in a way, and to just see his really kind-hearted and like conflicted nature about the whole crusade in general, because he doesn't want to really leave his people. His love for the people of Nocturne is so great and so genuine that he's like, do I really want to leave? And that's so fucking great.
That reminded me of the artist moots, but there's that really good comic about the salamanders making like a valiant last stand against some Tyranids on this sort of random homeworld where he gives one of the banner bearers gives the girl the banner, and they then lock him out the city with the big dreadnought.
I am back.
Opening the door.
That comic. Sorry, I just had that comic. Red knows who it is because little tidbit for our audience. Red's actually commissioning that artist very soon.
Oh, stunning!
Oh. Yeah.
Then there's also the one about the one of the little girl and the plague marine. That's very very fucking sad.
Psychic damage, literal psychic damage.
Yeah, yeah, you know the fucking one. It's bad, man, and they're just trying, and it just fucking hurts when it doesn't go right for them. I'd join the salamanders. Easy fucking choice.
Vulkan, I want to like him so much. Every time someone describes him to me on paper, I'm just like, wow. This is a really cool character. Perpetual, immortal, born on the worst conditions ever. And, like, he's, like, super friendly, teaches his legion compassion. He's, like, one of the first, like, He's one of the, again, twin Primarchs theory, but like, he's like super, super compassionate and cool and all that. And his like main goal is to be kind. And I love the aesthetic of him being the biggest of the Primarchs. Isn't he like fucking stupid big? Like, he's like, he's huge. Yeah, he's the Alexis Pollux of Primarchs. Like, even the Emperor gets unnerved that he doesn't have to kneel down to look him in the eyes. Like, he's like, what, 16 feet tall or some shit? He's fucking huge.
Fucking stupid. The only one that was bigger, I think, was Magnus, but that's because he made himself appear bigger.
Yeah. We don't know what Magnus's true height is, actually. But the fact that he's like super, super tall, he has like this ashy, gray, coal black skin with like the bright glowing red eyes and perfectly white teeth. Genuinely an intimidating sort to look at, quite personality-wise, he's the exact opposite of what you'd expect. He's just genuinely a friendly guy. But unfortunately, every single book that he is in is the worst piece of dog shit I've ever read in my life. Vulkan Lives is horrid.
That's how it goes.
It's like, every time he's like a character that just shows up, I'm like, yo, Vulkan, what's up? Come over here. Like, he's great. Love it. He does a great time. But like, when it's a book that is like focused on Vulkan, why? Why is it always so bad?
I would love to know your thoughts on the Konrad Maze situation.
Okay, I thought that was cool, but that's just because I love Konrad.
Okay.
I can hear Red clapping in the background.
Oh, he ain't gonna be clapping for long. I got opinions about Konrad. Favorite Primarch, but damn.
Well, no, I think I'll just diverge for a second here. Red knows that Konrad is flawed as fuck. Like, for all the things that make Konrad great, there's always an equal balancing thing that made Konrad an absolute moron. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Oh, yeah.
Right, pros and cons of Vulkan. Gentlemen, let's list these. So what pros have we gathered so far? He's huggable. He's friendly. He's honest.
Best hugs in the
world.
Emperor
loved him because he had more humanity than any of his sons or even himself. You know?
The most jacked man in 40K.
Jacked to the fucking gills.
Oh, God.
The size of a small Hummer. You know?
I'm pretty sure he's... Man's built like Ronnie
Master
Coleman.
Craftsman.
Ronnie
Coleman. If you don't put that on the screen, Tom, I'm coming to fucking strangle you. Right?
I will. Look here.
We get a buddy.
Right behind me right now. Right behind me right now. Ronnie Coleman. Sorry, Vulkan. Right behind me right now.
Yeah.
And cons. His books are dog shit.
Absolutely.
Books are dog shit. Yeah.
Very susceptible to his emotions being manipulated.
Yeah. That kind of goes tandem with like the pros of him, though, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, again, it makes it easy to just fuck with him, because, I mean, like, would the Konrad Maze thing work on, like, Perturabo? Nah, Perturabo would just think it'd be fucking funny. Like, you have to save these civilians, sir, and then Perturabo's just like, I don't care.
I mean, we say that, and an audience member who is particularly anal would say, oh, well, Perturabo's a traitor Primarch, he wouldn't care. No, 90% of the loyalist Primarchs also go, okay, so...
That's who.
Guilliman would be like, okay, so, you know. Leman would be like, skin him for me, would you? You know.
Leman would kill them for entertainment. It's what Leman would fucking do.
Magnus would probably give it the good old college try, but give up like after 15 minutes, you know.
Yeah.
Bored. Yeah,
anyways, gentlemen, shall we talk about the anal fister himself, the fissure of fisting, the Mr. Fisticuffs McFist, Rogal Dorn of the Imperial Fists, the man from Inwit, the golden dildo himself, Rogal Dorn.
I don't know much about Dorn personally. I know the general knowledge. I know he's a sort of big stoic figure, vanguard of fucking terror. But actually, like book-wise, I know pretty much nothing. So I'm curious to hear what you're supposed to say about this.
I think what makes him an interesting character is how absolutely ungodly fucking unyielding he is. That man won't stop, can't stop. He
right.
All-star.
You give him a hammer and that man will build you a fucking fort with it. It's what else is there to say about that pro?
It's
I think
very difficult for me to talk about Rogal Dorn because whenever I talk about Rogal Dorn, I always this is me prefixing me shutting up for this segment because whenever I talk about Rogal Dorn, I just end up divulging to how much I like Sigismund. Truly, it's so hard for me to just not
honestly based.
Yeah, I mean, no, I was about to do it then. I'm just going to shut the fuck up. We'll do a whole episode on Sigismund at some point because that man is just. Oh,
honestly, bald king, love him.
Oh.
Yeah. So, for those who don't know, one of my favorite Space Marine chapters. I have because I cover a lot of obscure Space Marine chapters, and I try to give them all a bunch of light. I know a lot about obscure Space Marine chapters, to the point where someone could come to me and be like, hey, have you ever heard of the Hawk Lords? I'm like, yeah. Have you heard of the Star Phantoms? I'm like, yes.
I'm sorry, I have to jump in right now, Arthur. The Hawk Lords were my first ever models.
That's
my first models.
Really
I painted Hawk Lords. I fucking love the Hawk Lords to this day
because there's
I'm not that
always
aggressive you painted, Tom. He sucks.
There's always someone who likes the fucking Hawk Lord.
Yeah, it's me. It's fucking me.
They're literally just Emperor's children, but instead of gold, it's yellow. It's cool. But. So I collect a lot of Space Marine chapters. I collect 3, just because I like paint projects. I fucking hate 10th edition 40k, and I'm very open about that. But I just collect them and paint them because I like painting. It's one of my biggest hobbies. Whatever. I have too many Black Templars.
Yeah.
So to understand their backstory, I read up a lot about Rogal Dorn, and man, how do I even? Yeah. I'm gonna share a little bit of an anecdote. There's a very little known. I don't know if it's little known. I've never seen them be brought up in any circle ever. There's this little known species of aliens they're kind of aliens, but they're not, but we'll get to that. That were known for being super invisible, and their community was called the Capiculu Continuum. Are you familiar with them?
No, this is the first I've ever heard of.
No.
So fucking invisible, apparently.
Yeah, their whole thing was they were separated by warp storms from the dark age of humanity, and they just kept their technology, and they have fucking warp gates, like a webway. They just need very low power psychers. Not even low power psychers. They got rid of their psychers because we'll get to it. But this story involves Rogal Dorn, I swear. It's going to loop back. It's going to make sense in a second.
I trust you.
So this area that was cut off by warp storms and the worst fucking terrain, it's so far from the Astronomicon, and because of that, no one wanted to bring their expedition fleet during the Great Crusade there, but Rogal Dorn was like, you are all bitches, I'm going, and he did. So he went, and all of a sudden, ships started to go black. They're just gone. On his radar, he's like, what the fuck's going on? And he'd look at the radar and he'd just be losing ships every now and then. And so he just started to scout out the fringes, and these stealth ships would come in, blow up a ship, steal bits and pieces, and then run away before there was any detection. They had super advanced stealth shit, and I forgot what the name they gave them was, but it was something like the Invisibles or the Invisible Men. But they ended up fighting them, and the Space Marines were like, we cannot see them on infrared, we cannot see them on any kind of spectrum of light. So the Imperial Fists, for I think they said 10 years, were fighting these hit and run bastards, and eventually they found the home planet. Rogal Dorn himself showed up and walked in to these people after 10 years of combat. He stated, I think they lost something stupid, 30,000 Marines to these fucking people. Even Rogal Dorn was like, I am pissed, but I am here to do my fucking job. And he shows up on the home planet of the Capiculu Continuum, and they're like, we do not bow to you, but we will listen to your imperial creed. And Rogal is like, good. He walks out, and before he's about to go out, he's like, wait, we did an autopsy. What is that technology you put in your soldiers' brains? And they're like, it is a remnant of an alien civilization that enslaved us long ago. It impedes psychic abilities. It's not implanted. It grows there. Our genetic strain was modified. And he looks at them and goes, so you are genetically modified. And they go, yes. He walks out of the room, looks towards like a baby Sigismund. This is like 13 years into his service. And I shit you not, the exchange goes, I never heard of no human that had mind bonds. And then Sigismund's like, oh, fuck yeah. Guns the entire planet down. They immediately just killed fucking everyone.
What the fuck?
And
Oh my god.
I'm reading this book and I'm like, based. Yes. This is why we like Rogal Dorn. He is spiteful and petty, but he never lets it get in front of his job. But if you piss him off so much that he will keep a grudge the second he can kill you legally and justifiably, he will put you down like a fucking dog. And I love that for him.
Well, it's really interesting you say that because Rogal Dorn is a huge pop culture fucking icon amongst the Warhammer 40k community, and as such, no one takes the piss out of Rogal Dorn. And when you quote stories like this, it's so obvious as to why, you know? He is fucking... I don't mean to oversimplify a complicated topic, but he's so fucking solid. You know? But he is. He is. I remember doing a short. Oh, yeah. I remember doing a short a number of months ago, about 2 months ago now, where I had the honor that I bestowed upon myself of voicing Rogal Dorn for a short segment when he did his little speech to the Space Marines on Terra. You know, the speech that ended with, oh, God, I feel so bad for not knowing the whole speech off by heart, but it ended with, they are coming, kill them all.
Yeah.
You know,
my orders are clear cut and concise and simple, and I need you to follow them. And I know the thing, but he literally just fuck him up, G, and then just period send.
Yeah,
it was like West Coast and then left, and it was great.
There's something so as a reader and as someone who enjoys sci-fi and larger than life characters, there's something so bombastic about a character that carries his subtlety with such loudness as Rogal Dorn. You know, he's such a brilliant fucking character, and I think we look at 40k, not 30k, we look at 40k as it is now, and the loyalist Primarchs are very slowly returning. Right? You watch. I'm calling it right now. Eventually it'll fucking happen. Rogal Dorn will return. He'll be having a cybernetic hand, but Rogal Dorn will come back. And the fan parade will be out of this fucking world. It'll be as bombastic and as loud as he is in his simplicity. And there's something about that. Like, if I could skip the next 3 years of 40k releases and just jump straight to Rogal Dorn coming back, I fucking would. You know, I fucking would. If you look at the stock value price of Games Workshop over COVID and how it rose to the fucking nth because everyone's stuck indoors, I'm going to paint plastic fucking miniatures. You know, how their stock price went through the roof. You watch that fucking happen again when Rogal Dorn comes back.
Oh, yeah.
That's the power of the golden dildo. He is all fucking mighty. You know, and we sit here and we crack jokes. You know, we crack jokes in our little inner circle about Valrak every now and then. But he's right. He's right. The Imperial Fists and Rogal Dorn, they are so overwhelmingly symptomatic of what makes Space Marines and Warhammer 40k so fucking epic, with Rogal Dorn at the fucking center of that as a conceptual character. It's
people from Manchester have known to be clairvoyant.
I'm going to get an outtake of that. I'm going to email that to Valor. Let's see what he says. But no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely fucking spot on. Rogal Dorn is an exceptional character, and it's no fucking wonder for a second why nobody, jukes on the Imperial Fists. We all take the piss out of the Iron Warriors, and we all love their little rivalry with the Fists. And we all juke on the Iron Warriors all fucking time, but nobody dunks on the Fists because there's no reason to. Whether it's the Fists or their successors, we love the Crimson Fists. We love the Black Templars. These, between the Fists, the Black Templars, and the Crimson Fists, you've got 3 chapters there that summarize all of the good things about the Imperium as a faction. And they're all Sons of Dawn. And I love that so much, you know?
Well...
If you're about to say anything about the Space Wolves, I'm going to come to Sweden and throw a brick at you. I swear to God. If you say anything about the Space Wolves, I'm killing you. I swear to God.
Space Wolves? I literally I don't know what you're talking about. To just balance out all the fanboying that's been going on here, not to say it's anything wrong with it, I think you mentioned something about the 30,000 Space Marines that died fighting those invisible fuckers. I think that's kind of part of also the con with Dorn, which is, as his pro, his unyieldingness. He is extremely focused and single-minded.
Stubborn.
Precisely.
Yeah, I could shit on the Imperial Fist. I'm just not going to do that out of polite courtesy being a guest here.
I'm sorry, I went too heavy. That's my bad.
No, I'm just like, you can't shit on the Imperial Fist. I'm like, their chapter master has 1 paragraph of lore. There's a few things, right? Yeah, his name's Greg Ardessian. Look him up. Current chapter master, absolutely no lore.
It's more than Ferrus Manus, all right.
Valid.
Anyways, gentlemen, shall we move on to the master, the absolute god of logistics, the saint of specifics, the can't think of any more puns.
Bob.
I'm trying to figure out who the fuck you're talking about.
I should have gone in with the Benedict Cumberbatch bullshit. The Gorilla Girly Man, the Roboute Guilliman, the I was about to say nonsense words. Roboute Guilliman, Primarch of the Ultramarines.
Okay, before we get into it, I just want to say, I want to put the Roboute Guilliman meme to the fucking grave. Because, like, you know, at least JW gave him a unique name that wasn't based off of pre-existing things, because whenever they try and, like, come up with a new name, it's a bit silly. But, like, whenever they don't come up with a new name and just use a pre-existing concept, you have a guy whose name is Iron Hands and his chapter's name is Iron Hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I give him a little slack for that.
Yeah, I'll give them that too. Me personally, I think he has pretty. He has a solid name. It is a good name. It is memorable for a reason. You can kind of see that as a pro, I guess. But
people pronounce it wrong. But let's not open that can of worms.
Yeah,
God.
Like with everything in 40k, you pronounce it however you want. It's like regional dialect at this point.
Actually,
it's like fucking. I don't know. I might be one of few here. I think I really like Roboute. I think he's a very solid Primarch, all in all. His skill set is, he's very balanced, you could say. He excels in empire building, and boy did he do that good. Even though you could argue that he just got lucky landing in a very good, at the right time and the right place. But I'm going to have to give it to him. He did well with what he had, and made a system which was like a connected like bunch of systems, which was like 3 systems into a 500 world spanning empire or more. However,
no, that's right. That's right.
It's.
I think my favorite thing about Guilliman is, and I could talk to Chris about this for ages. Oh my god! I mean, Chris. If anyone doesn't know, Chris was the guest on our episode before last, halfway through December, where we talked about 40k and mental health, and we spent a little bit of time talking about philosophy. And I love and maybe this isn't Guilliman, maybe this is his setting, the thematics of ancient Greece and how that impacts the thematics of the Ultramarines, but more specifically, the upbringing of Roboute Guilliman. It's a very when you think of like the story of the One, when you've got this very generic male character who grows up through a thing. The reason it's so impactful, and the reason Luke Skywalker, Harry Potter, etc. The reason it resonates with so many people is because it works. And Guilliman's story is that, but taken a step further. If we look at the Horus Heresy, I will, after the little incident during the Horus Heresy with Konrad and Guilliman's mother, I will never, ever not love Roboute Guilliman. That one little scene where he's like, I'm going to step through this. I'm going to step through this for the sake of my mother's happiness. Even though he's a fucking demigod and his mother's just a fella, you know? There's something about that to me will always touch me, you know, and I will always love Guilliman's character because of that. I mean, I can still shit on it. I can still talk about how he's a fucking Mr. Blue Smurf, you know, whatever. I can do that with the best of them, but I will always love his character because of that and that story that took him there with was it Connor Guilliman? Was that his name? It was Connor, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How
it's spelled Konor, and they're like, it's Konor, and I'm like,
Konor. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Excellent. And so how, you know, again, it's very generic that, his father was betrayed and he must avenge his father and go on to bigger and better things. You know, it's such a generic The One story. But it resonates because it works. Yeah. And I love that. You know, all the stories I grew up with that I loved were that, and I will always love Guilliman because of that. We've completely deviated from pros and cons, by the way. We should probably bring it back.
I was waiting for someone else to wake up.
Oh no, I got you. Weirdly enough, okay, you might think
load shotgun.
Listen, no, don't worry. I actually I know I said this a lot. Guilliman does not suck. I like him. My opinion of Guilliman kind of transcends just him, and it kind of goes into the Ultramarines as a whole, where I like the renaissance that we're kind of going through, where the opinions of the Ultramarines is finally fucking changing.
Thank you, my lord.
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't even involved in the fan base when that happened. I wasn't even playing Warhammer. But like everybody's
never forget the Marvel
like,
comic.
the Blue Boy Scouts, and I'm like, it's cool, but like, how do I put this? Going through like the Uriel Venture series, going through the Dark Imperium series, going through the Horus Heresy, like my opinion of Roboute Guilliman is the same as if Fulgrim wasn't like as fucked up as he is. He's a politician. He is probably the Primarch that if you took away all of the bad edges and just gave a good upbringing, this is how everybody should have turned out.
Yeah.
He's a balanced personality. He's a balanced person. If I were to give a put that in a pro, he himself is a very balanced person. He is logistically inclined. He's not the best at like fighting and combat. Don't tell that to the word bearers. They're still recovering from that time they violently shot him out of an airlock, and he somehow punched his way back in. I would have been shitting bricks if I was just like, we did it. We killed Guilliman, and all you hear is as he's just crunching metal and screaming. Oh, it's fucking horrible.
Oh my god.
As he just like bursts through like the fucking Kool-Aid man. So he himself, still Primarch tier, in terms of like combative skills, but like I think he is, again, super, super balanced. He logistically the best out of all the Primarchs because he himself can concern himself. But I'd say the biggest con for him is he is very much a trees for the forest kind of guy. He does not he has oftentimes trouble seeing individuals as individuals. He sees them for what they represent for the greater cause. In the Dark Imperium series, I think it was book 2, not Godblight. I think, no. Whatever. Plague War is the second one. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
He actually employs dead-ass heretical rogue traders. That are causing destabilization with the more religious fundamentalist aspects of the Imperium, but he does not see them as causing any troubles, like Praetor, whatever. Matthew, the guy.
Yes.
Who has to strap electrodes to his nutsack to keep him from getting too excited when he's around Guilliman. Where is the lie? Where is the lie?
I'm so sorry. I need to step away from him for a minute. That was fucked.
Well, it's true. Like, I was reading... Okay, there's a guy, his name's Matthew, cool guy, works with the poor, and, like, I thought he was really cool because he had an interview with Guilliman, and the entire time Guilliman is like, wow, this guy is, like, really, really cool. he seems not like he's freaking out the entire time. And then they just like the next chapter cut to Matthew's perspective. He's got a little button in his hand. He's like, zap, 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 calm down, zap, 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 zap. And I'm like, thanks, I guess. But Matthew was like, he talked to one of these rogue traders who found one of the original copies of the Lectitius Divinitatum, like the one that Lorgar made, brought it to Guilliman, and he's like, we should have you burned to death for that. And I'm like, that's definitely an oversight on Guilliman, and that's his biggest con. He doesn't see the individuals for their needs. He doesn't understand that people can have ulterior motives. He sees them for how they are useful to him and not what they would get out of it.
Yeah.
And that's why it led to like one of my favorite scenes in the Dark Imperium, which is when Matthew launched an attack on an Imperial base by convincing Adeptus Sororitas to, the little girl you have captive is a saint, but that's neither here nor there. And Guilliman is just like, I am so disgusted with you, because Guilliman himself is like, this is my cog. This is the guy. Like, he should have been doing what I was doing. But he didn't, so that's Guilliman's thing. He's very prone to oversights.
I don't think I could have said it better, honestly.
Probably shorter, because I'm fucking long-winded.
Oh, no, it's better than going off topic like I did. Let's talk very quickly. Let's summarize very quickly, just because I am sure the audience is pissed that we've gone off on our ramblings. Let's, if we could.
Us, you, Tom, too. You are.
Are you not part of the Astartes Anonymous team, Moots?
I wasn't the one who went on a tangent about Imperial Fists.
I am a part of the Astartes Anonymous team when we do well, but it's actually Tom when we do badly. Yes, that's what I'm fucking hearing. So, let's do a quick breakdown. So, pros. He's got a huge cock.
Oh yeah.
He's got a great relationship with parents. He's got a good enough relationship with the Emperor. He's smart as fuck. Cons, he gets ahead of himself, which is fair. It's funny, because you said something at the start of your little ramble there, Connor, about how Guilliman's biggest sort of letdown.
The trees for the forest?
Well, yeah. You know, it's very difficult to fault Guilliman for that, though, because you could make a very genuine argument about how that only makes him more human. You know, Guilliman is the only Primarch, without a shadow of a fucking doubt, the only Primarch where if the Emperor and all 20 Primarchs were just clones of Guilliman, we'd be living in that utopia. No other Primarch can boast that. You know, not even Jagatai. I can hear the White Scars fans go, "Oh, Jagatai is just he's just a fucking chat." Yeah, I love Jagatai. Not even, not Jagatai, not the Emperor, not Horus when he wasn't busy fucking fingering his bumhole.
Oh yeah,
only Guilliman. Anyways, gentlemen, shall we make a move onto? I'm thinking of some puns real quick. The Cyclops of Prospero, the one-eyed snake of whatever system Prospero's in, the psychic shenanigans of Magnus the Red.
I love him. He's best. Smash.
Not biased. Not biased for a moment, Almoops. Not at all.
I am so fucking sorry for what I'm going to say when you're done, but keep going.
Actually, this is brilliant. Moots, go first. I want to hear this wonderful American fella fuck you up. Please, go ahead.
Canadian, but
right.
It's aight.
Oh, I'm going to cut that. I'm cutting that out of the audio, boys.
Censoring here.
I won't. Listen, I have a sense of humility. I'll let people roast me for that as much as they want.
No, you're good. I have a neutral accent. I trained it in. It's fine.
No, the dumb thing is, I've seen you say in Chrono's Discord at least once that you're Canadian.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
And that fucking memory of mine just went, no, bye. We're gonna racially fucking stereotype you in your accent and go, it's the Americans. 50% of our audience is American, by the way. I am not doing us any favors.
Again, you say we. I never claimed
Are
Arthur
you
wasn't
or are
a
you
fucking
not part
American.
of the Astartes Anonymous team, Moose?
Why
don't you be more of a team player, Moose?
Mom, Dad, if I say it was me, will you guys stop fighting?
I'm joking. We fuck about. We fuck about a little bit. We do a little bit of trolling.
I'm making jokes.
I know. Anyways, Magnus the Red, Moose, please embarrass yourself.
Oh,
smash!
I also love Magnus the Red Heresy era, by the way. Please go.
Yes. Okay. So let's start with the obvious. Hair on fleek. Fucking can
What? The
change
dude has like
himself.
No, keep going. I'm gonna keep it in. I'm gonna keep it in for now. Don't worry.
I can hear the disappointment.
He can look however he wants to.
And
Which brings a lot of bonuses.
The sextet episode.
Is this a bald guy thing? Is this a bald guy thing? Is Magnus secretly bald?
You guys would know. Did you tell me?
Oh my god.
What does the council say?
I mean, how can you not like him? Honestly, he can do little magic tricks for you. He's
He's
make just
it move
a swell guy. All right, he can take you on magic.
Why have you posted that picture in the fucking images? Is that your response to Moose's thing? I'm gonna put on the screen. This is Arthur's response to Moose's.
What am I looking at?
Holy shit!
I'm fucking dying. I'm sorry.
Keep going. Keep going. It'll make this so much better.
Keep it coming, man. I can take it. Holy fuck.
I need to pin this in the fucking Discord. I'm gonna die.
Keep talking.
I'm done. I have nothing else to say.
Thanks to the Swede and the Canadian, my jaw now hurts. Fuck.
Okay, my turn.
My turn.
Okay, so Magnus fucking sucks. I hate
Fucking Discord.
okay. Of every single fucking Primarch, I think I like Magnus the least.
No.
Okay, Magnus's hair, shit. It looks like fucking greasy Discord moderator hair when you grow it too fucking long and you're just like, fuck it, top knot, let's go. Curls it back into one long mane. Okay, secondly, he is somehow so fucking smart, he loops back around to being the fucking dumbest character in the setting, making every single wrong decision he could possibly make. Name one thing he did right in the entire thing. Horus Heresy.
He is beautiful. He's
That's not a
fault.
choice. That's not even a choice. Is he beautiful? Is he beautiful?
Moots is the kind of guy who'd wear a Magnus did nothing wrong shirt.
Okay.
Proudly.
Okay. How about that one time where like the Space Wolves are being like, oh, you gotta go kill them. You gotta go kill the Thousand Sons, and the Thousand Sons were like, oh, it's the Space Wolves. Oh no. And they just let them show up, and like every single like Space Marine of the Thousand Sons is like, my lord, the Space Wolves are coming. What the fuck are we doing? And then Magnus is like, let them do what they want. And then shit started to go down, and everybody started to fucking die. Oh, remember that time that fucking Magnus is like, Horus, I have to save you. Accidentally convinces him to fall to chaos. Oh no, I have to warn the Emperor. There's so much chaos going on. Hey, Dad! Oh, Magnus, how the fuck are you? And then everything goes to shit. It's cut to like, what was it, like 2 weeks straight of demon murder? Like, everything he did was wrong. He made the wrong decisions every fucking time. And Council of Nicaea showed up. Guess what happened? God. Like, Mortarion. Cycles are bad, they do bad shit, they turn into chaos spawn, it's super unstable. Fucking Leman Russ. This dude's fucking crazy. We don't like him, but also, psychers are bad. We have psychers. We don't like him. Magnus, let me recite to you one of my favorite poems. And the Emperor himself was like, oh my god, that's my kid. Magnus fucking sucks. There are no pros unless you like fucking psychics and the weird amount of femboy fan art that he gets.
Oh no, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, those are pros. You're right.
Listen, it's true.
Those are pros.
Side note, why the fuck do people draw Ahriman with a fat ass and long hair? The guy's bald and looks like Mr. Clean.
Because these are obviously facts. Yeah. He has a fat ass.
And for cons, I'm going to point to the image I posted in the chat just a second ago. There's too many fucking cons to speak of, goddammit. Magnus fucking sucks, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Thousand Suns, kind of a fun legion. Magnus sucks. I will say, the whole Shaitan thing, kind of cool. Magnus still sucks.
I can't express. I'm going to bring it back to reality, ladies and gentlemen. I can't express
debunked idiot.
How much my jaw hurts right now from listening to these two motherfuckers talk about Magnus the Red. I'm dying. I've been this whole time. Connor has been talking about Magnus the Red. I've been staring at this picture of Blark, just screaming in a fucking camera. Can we move on to the next Primarch, please? I can't do that.
No, I think it was the hair comment that put him over the edge.
I scrolled up. I can see the guy from Madagascar, please. Can we talk about Sanguinius, please?
Oh no, not Sanguinius! No! Enough enemies!
Shut the fuck up! Connor, please shut the fuck up!
It just gets better and better, boys. It just gets better and better.
I'm gonna vomit. I'm gonna piss my pants and vomit. I swear to God, man. Shut the fuck up, please. Shut the fuck up. Just stop.
I can't. The raw, unfiltered hate for
I know. How can you despise a fictional character so much?
You guys are gonna laugh when I talk about Konrad the same way, but I love him.
It's a space marine.
I've never claimed I'm perfect.
Alright, I'm bringing this back in now. This has gone too far. It's time to talk about the next Primarch. So, ladies and gentlemen, the son of Dracula or some vampire bullshit. Ladies and gentlemen, Sanguinius, the Primarch of the Blood Angels, please. Somebody save my jawbones, thank you.
I'm going to save my segment for the end this time.
Do I even dare go again?
Connor, if I have another laughing fit, I'm going to faint. All right, can you please contain your malice for like 10
Genuinely a
minutes?
cool guy. You kind of fucked up. And I fucked up a few things with the Blood Angels, but overall, he's alright.
Okay, I'm going to try and bring us. I'm going to grab my hand into the air. I'm going to pull back a sense of normalcy. I'm going to pull back the groundedness. This astute and intellectual podcast. I'm going to bring it back to reality. Fucking Sanguinius was a cool dude. He stopped the Blood Angels from being murderous idiots who didn't know themselves. I'm waiting for Connor to open his mouth so I can kill myself. Please don't say anything stupid.
Not gonna lie, he was kind of thick. Smash.
Yeah, you get to be a cool fucking vampire man. You know, a bit like Alucard, but he's apparently not original comparatively.
I'm done. I'm so done with this episode. You guys are fucking nuts. I'm just beyond saving.
Genuinely, Sanguinius as a Primarch, I like him. I like him a lot. I think that Sanguinius is. No, are you okay?
No.
I was waiting for you to slowly peel off the mask.
Perfect. So Sanguinius, I don't like the Blood Angels, but I don't like the Blood Angels as a chapter or a legion. I like the successes of the Blood Angels more. Sanguinius as a whole does represent the aspects of the Blood Angels. How do you put this? personified, like they're amplified to like the nth degree to him. So their love, their hate, their rage, everything is in him in like perfection. He represents the perfect aspect of each of them. And because of that, I do appreciate him. How do I put this? I do think for pros, he really cares for his sons. He wants the best for them. He is like, again, twin Primarch theory that I have. He is the twin of Magnus the Red, because both of them are obviously like prescient psychers. Both of them have severe mutations, and both of them found their legion on the brink of death due to genic abnormalities that caused them to either, in Magnus's case, turn into giant berserking piles of angry meat, and for Sanguinius, they were just berserkers that would revel too much in death.
Oh, okay.
So they had the bloodthirst, and I think the Black Rage was already in them. It was just buried deep down. And because of that, both of them went about their own way to do so, to like, bring their legion back to where it was.
Yeah.
And because of that, you see that he puts sort of a pressure on artistry and a focus on mastery over the arts rather than just, savagery and shit. Unless your name is Nasir Amit, then I fucking suck my dick, I guess. I don't know. But Nasir Amit, he gets a pass because his nickname was the Flesh Terror. You weren't going to teach him. He wasn't going to pick up I don't know, fucking crocheting.
He wasn't going to pick up calligraphy.
Right.
Yeah.
With Sanguinius, the big pro is he is a teacher, a father to his Marines. Like other chapters, they are a leader, but he is a father to his sons, and he genuinely hates seeing the deaths of his brothers. Or his sons, and wasn't that the first time that an instance of the Black Rage happened when Sanguinius was fighting Kabanda, and he saw so many of the Blood Angels dying that he went into this like rage state, and that's where the first Black Rage actually happened, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very interesting you say that, because obviously going from the legions and the majority of all legions had different aliases before their Primarchs were found, although some of them we're not aware of. No legion transformed the way it did until Sanguinius came to the Blood Angels. I've completely forgotten.
Absolutely.
I've completely forgotten what they were called prior to the Blood Angels' arrival. I'm sure some smart aleck in the comment section will tell me. But the
Revenants.
The Revenants.
Revenant Legion, yeah.
The Revenant Legion. I mean, you think about things like when people talk about the prior legions, they talk about the I hear a lot of people talk about the World Eaters and how they were the war hounds, right? And how Angron came along and changed a little, but not really a lot. But everyone remembers the war hounds because that name is so fucking striking. But there is no legion that changed quite as much. Because I think, talking about the World Eaters, if you think about the World Eaters, how they were during the Horus Heresy, but maybe around the time of the Butcher's Nails, maybe just prior, that's kind of what you were looking at with the Warhounds. And Sanguinius actively changed them into artists. I mean, sure, gun-toting, six-pack wielding, muscular bastard artists, but artists nonetheless. And I think that is, out of all of the pros of Sanguinius, none shines quite as brightly as that. The ability to take what are ultimately these transhumans who are so lost in their hatred and violence and turning every single one of them into artists that border on philosophers. I mean, minus Mr. Flesh Terror himself, but for the most part, his legacy, and this is, we bitched a little bit earlier about how I bitched at Connor, aka Mr. Bones here, about how it's dangerous to shit on the Blood Angels, right? Because the Blood Angels have such an overwhelmingly passionate following, and they should.
Oh yeah,
they fucking should, for good reason. I mean, they're not above flaws. They do happen to occasionally go into a berserker rage and eat children, but we're not going to touch upon that. But that dichotomy and the exemplification of that dichotomy between being a rabid fucking animal and being a contemplative warrior is nowhere near as stark with any of the legions or any Space Marine individual as it is with the Blood Angels. In fact, actually, I'm going to be a bastard. I'm going to bring it back to Iron Father Ferrus of the Iron Hands. That comparison, you can draw a comparison there between the average Iron Hand Space Marine of the 41st millennium and Iron Father Ferrus. His outlook on life is so, I won't say poetic like it usually would be with Blood Angels, but it's filled with laughter and humor and a positive outlook on things that ascends above the cold mechanical, in the same way that Sanguinius' outlook on existence was filled with artistry and love, compared to the Revenant Legion, aka the Blood Angels legions prior to Sanguinius, was filled with nothing but hatred and violence. It's a really wonderful sort of dichotomy to look at between the two of them.
Well, this dichotomy that you speak of is one of the reasons why I love not only Sanguinius but the Blood Angels in general. They're so multifaceted, right? It's the reason why you see even in canon how all of the Chaos Gods were and are like pining for him and the Blood Angels, because they encompass so many aspects that they can literally pick and choose.
And that in itself is a wonderful, I'm so sorry, but that in itself is a wonderful picture of the humanity of Sanguinius.
Which is one of the reasons why I think, if any, he could have, if he was chosen to be the War Master, he would have probably fallen just as well.
Oh, yeah.
And have been the...
Yep. No doubt in my mind, he is a very passionate individual.
Anyways, gentlemen, shall we move on to the master of autism, the Lord of the Knights, the King of Caliban, Lion L. Johnson of the Dark Angels?
You said Lord of the Night, and I was like, yeah. Oh, wait, no, not that one.
No, Lord of the Knights. Knights, like Arthurian knights, like motherfuckers clad in steel and shit.
Yeah, sorry.
When you said the King of Autism, I thought you meant Perturabo first, and then you switched to Lord of Night, and then I was like, Konrad?
Yeah.
I'm really I'm trying so hard to keep this pun roll going. I'm failing so hard, gentlemen. I'm failing so hard.
No, you're good.
You should be ashamed.
Just ponder the orb that is your head, and they'll come to you, my guy.
But yeah, I think that, like, generally speaking, we're in kind of a good spot to discuss Lionel Johnson, mainly because you can divide the lore for him into the two perspectives of before his return and after his return. I'm pretty up to date on the Lion lore when it comes to like his return, because I've read Son of the Forest, I've read like the Arcs of Omen books that have happened, and if we were talking about him prior, he would basically just come off as genuinely, and this isn't like as a joke or anything, a character that I would say is like coded for autism. He definitely has obsessive traits. He has definitely hyperfixative tendencies and an inability to associate with individuals who are not interested in what he's interested in.
Yeah.
He also would have come off as like very short-sighted, very unable to relate to other individuals, and also a good analogy for an abusive father figure. Because
wait, what?
Sorry?
No, please, no, don't continue. I'm a little bit confused on that, the abusive father figure analogy.
So this is kind of coming from. Have any of you read Son of the Forest yet?
I've been fed extracts by another content creator over the last couple of months. Only things, I did some research on the Fallen. I had to for a number of shorts and things. So
of
that's
course.
where I'm most up to date, but actually a lot less so on the Lion himself.
So the Lion, I would say abusive is not a good word to describe it. I would say neglectful would be a better one. Where if you, post him leaving Caliban and forming like the Dark Angels, if you betrayed him in any way, shape, or form, you are no longer his son. You are no longer a part of his legion, to the point where even his best friends, like Luther...
Oh, yeah.
Luther obviously made a minor mistake. Well, not minor, but like, he almost nuked the entirety of a station that they were on. But even still, he's like, we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to discuss it. You are just now dead to me. There is no discussion to be had. You are no longer a part of this family. And that's kind of the energy that I had from it. And the reason why I say this analogy is because in Lion, Son of the Force, it has that energy of a father who has been disjointed from his family coming back to find that it has gone into disarray without him because of what he has done. Because the entirety of the book centers around him seeing what's happened to his family, or like his sons, and for real, he's just like, okay, I fucked up. And if you read the end of that book, he encounters some kind of shape-shifting entity that was in the forest itself that turned into Curze. And
I do know about this bit.
Yeah, one of my favorite analogies for that is the Curze entity says, at least I knew what part of my legion needed to be killed off. And he says, all of them. And Curze says, yeah, I know. That's right. You didn't. You didn't know a single one of your loyalist sons from your traitor sons. And I thought that's very interesting because the Lion basically had to realize, I was a shitty dad to my sons. I expected perfection and punished them horribly for it. And now he had to learn that entire book how to forgive them. He's finding people who were on like Caliban and actively attacking him when he showed up to Caliban to see what Luther was doing. So if this was the old Lion who wasn't learning, he would have killed them on sight. Like if this was the Lion from the Heresy, not a single hesitation, he would have killed them. But the Lion now is a very different character from when he was in the Horus Heresy, and I really like that.
No, that's actually really interesting you say, because it sort of touches a little bit upon what I was talking about Rogal Dorn earlier in the episode. How there's something really wonderful to look forward to there in the sense of narrative character development, because the Lion during the Horus Heresy was an overwhelmingly black and white individual.
Yep,
like many of the Primarchs. And I would love to see. I'm sorry, I'm bringing back to Rogal Dorn. I would love to see a similar development of the grey area of these characters when they come back, and it's quite interesting because if you look at Jagatai Khan, I'm taking it way off topic. If you look at Jagatai Khan was only grey area.
Yep.
And it would be very interesting to see that comparison of Jagatai Khan becoming a black and white individual in the 41st millennium,
Jagatai? You mean
No, I'm talking about Jagatai.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about Jagatai. I think the Lion's slow becoming of forgiveness in relation to the Fallen in M41 or M42 now, I think, is a very wonderful little addition.
Absolutely.
I think my biggest pet peeve, and I don't know if this qualifies as a con because it's a very personal little thing that I hold, is in 10th edition. I know you said you have a little bit of disdain for 10th edition.
So much.
I personally, and maybe there's a whole thing here, I personally am enjoying 10th much more than I enjoyed 9th.
Interesting.
Yeah, because you played like 2 games of 9th.
I didn't play 2 games of 9th, you fucking
poser. Jesus
fucking
Christ.
smelly goon. I did.
Invalid.
Butthead. I did not play 2 games on 9th.
Yeah, you did. I was the one who fucking played them with you.
Somebody smite this bastard. Anyway. Anyways, aside from the point, my biggest sort of complaint with the Lion in 10th, in this sort of weird roundabout way, is I feel like from a tabletop standpoint, I know we're going to gameplay here, I feel like from a tabletop standpoint, his story has like almost nothing to do with the tabletop. And I feel like there could have been so much fun they could have had there with the Fallen, new units, or at least changed how units operate. Maybe I'm jumping the gun a little bit because we know that in Q1 of 2024, we'll see a new codex for the Dark Angels, and maybe that'll be reflected there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're going to bring the Lion back out in the arse end of 9th edition and then not have anything changed for another 6 to 9 months, maybe you should have held off for another 6 to 9 months.
Right?
You know? It's just...
cries in Leagues of Votan.
I will have you know, the wonderful, wondrous Leagues of Votan are currently performing 3rd or 4th best in the competitive scene as any faction. I mean, granted, they started off 10th, real fucking rocky as the 2nd worst faction of all, but Leagues of Votan are rocking shit right now, you know?
I'm not going to get too into it, but I don't pay attention to the competitive meta of things. I pay attention to more just the casual side of things when it comes to gameplay. And 13 units, barely any rules, and they were so bad when we started that they were a fucking 20% win rate. Not even they were down there.
Oh yeah, they were real
bad.
They were real bad at the start of 10th, unforgivably so.
But yeah, no, regardless, you are 110% right. They should have had at least one risen model because they had such a good few to pick from. Because the book itself highlights there's a thematic thing going on where there's he's basically just doing the Arthurian myth of getting the 12 knights of the round, and all of them are there. And they could have just put Zabriel in the old knight, but they didn't want to do that probably because it's not a Primaris miniature, so. Oh man, did I say that out loud? But but yeah, no. Goods. I think you are 100% right though. That he definitely. The rules, the lore needs to support the tabletop a little bit more, but the tabletop also needs to support the lore too. So just having him be there, it's basically they're going with the interpretation of him that was from Arcs of Omen, not from Sons of the Forest.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because I really like the Sons of the Forest version, but womp womp.
Can't win them all.
Yeah, right.
It's difficult because, obviously, we could sit here and try and empathize with the big bad corporation that's trying to push more models forward.
Leave the multi-billion-dollar company alone.
I think their profits in 2021, I don't know 2022, but their profits in 2021 were in something in the range of, I think it was 210 million. And it might be 2022, and forgetting that. From a user standpoint, it's very jarring. It's very fucking jarring to get on board with the resurrection of such an iconic fucking character and then have that character's table. So it's a hard one though as well because people like to say only 20% of Warhammer fans actually ever touch the tabletop.
Yeah, I believe it.
And to those people who don't touch the tabletop, I'd say, yeah, this is a bit weird to you to have this discussion. Because, on one hand, we're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And on the other hand, we're like, well, actually, could we please see some representation? And I suppose it circles back to, in March or April, maybe February, if we're lucky, when they release the Dark Angels Codex. We'll actually get some more on that. And I think that's maybe the best thing I'm looking forward to about the Dark Angels Codex is not the tabletop stuff. It is the tabletop stuff. I'm rinsing Dark Angels right now. It is going to be the extra lore we're going to get, like all codexes do on the Lion, and you bet your ass there's going to be some big upheaval in that codex, and it's going to be wonderful,
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, we're getting Primaris Asmodai, which I'm pretty sure is as far away from a model for the Lion side of things as you could possibly get. I mean, cool. I like Asmodai. That guy speedruns getting promotions, but
No, but you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That model looks fucking sick, by the way.
It does look sick. There's so many. There's lots of customizations for lots of customization for that model that you wouldn't have expected for a Primaris model in regards to the little smoke plumes, the hood, etc.
It's funny. I kind of despise Dark Angels as a fucking whole. The Lion, the Marines, their lore, the whole fucking deal.
The Blade Guard veterans.
And they suck. That's generic. But they are my 1,000 sons to Connor here as the Lion. I fucking hate them. They're basic.
I just want the audience to know.
I can get into a hate speech.
I'm so sorry, Aaron. I just want the audience to know that we had a wonderful Astartes Anonymous get together earlier in the year, a few months in November. Earlier last year in November, with Aaron, Red, and I, and a number of our real important people from the Discord. And Aaron's sole takeaway from it was the quote, "I fucking hate Blade Guard veterans." And that was my fault.
You're so fucking real for that.
Dark Angels running it.
Dark Angels have nothing to do with
Six
that.
Blade Guard veterans and Samael. That shit fucking slaps.
Yeah.
I have nothing against Blade Guard vets. I like Blade Guard vets. I just hate the Legion they were part of. Which in this case was Murder Saints, but I digress.
Yeah.
my
I was just saying it's quite funny because the Asmodai model is one of my favourite things they've put out in a long fucking time. Actually, tell a lie. Non-emissary. Fuck that.
Fuck you, Doug.
Double back. Double down.
Yeah. The non-emissaries are exceedingly cool model. Even Revy, my girlfriend, who's not huge into the modelling side of things, saw the non-emissary and was like, "This motherfucker rocks."
I'm getting in the simulator soon. I'm hyped.
It's just a kaiju.
You're absolutely right. I tell you, the Screamer Killer slaps. It's a shame it just gets slapped when you put it on the tabletop.
It's fucking 50 points too expensive. If it was 120, then
even 130 or 140, it would still do just, anyways.
130 is okay. 140 is pushing it.
You reckon? Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Considering how bad Battleshock is in the new edition. But that's not what we're talking about.
That's not what we're talking about. You're absolutely correct. Anyways, gentlemen, shall we move on to the daddy of issues? I'm going to stop with these puns. Perturabo, the Lord of Iron himself. Perturabo, the Primarch of the Iron Warriors, the 15th Legion.
What does the Council of Bold Men have to say about the highest ranking bold man? Please, continue.
Motherfucker.
The Lord of Bold.
Cue that scene from fucking SpongeBob. Yeah.
I gotta straighten my back to get this one right. But I think we all need to sit down, hold hands, make sure everybody's in a comfortable spot, and everybody's in a good place to hear some things that might make them a little bit upset. I want you all to know that, hey, I'm enjoying myself. Thank you for inviting me. And all of you that are listening, I appreciate you for listening along. But, we all need to sit there and realize Perturabo really wasn't that bad. He had a point.
No, you're right.
Was kind of... I fucking swerved you guys, didn't ya?
You did. Right. I was waiting for you to fucking shit talk. You're absolutely correct.
I honestly got teary-eyed when I was reading the Perturabo book and he accidentally killed his elderly sister and he's like, man, I fucked up. And it's literally the definition of oh man, I have rode this path so long that I'm at the end of it and I'm I turn back to see I made a mistake. This is the wrong path to go, but
absolutely.
fuck, I can only go forward.
Yeah.
It's a Greek tragedy.
Naturally, yes. Okay.
He's pleased with himself for that one.
I'm sorry, we can't do this segment about Perturabo. And again, pros and cons. The greatest pro of Perturabo is the traitor legions during the however many years of heresy wouldn't, and I know everyone knows this, I'm saying it anyway, wouldn't have had a fucking fart in the winds hope of a chance of surviving as long as they did without Perturabo's fucking pseudo-leadership. Yes. Whilst Fulgrim was too busy doing lines of coke off his own belly, and Lorgar was sat there sulking in a corner.
Doing Lorgar things.
And Horus was cracked out on fucking chaos heroin. Perturabo was stood there like an iron pillar of will.
Yep.
That motherfucker. Could you imagine? There is no other legion in the entirety of the Horus heresy that was so definitive. If you imagine the loyalists, right, for a second, you got all your loyalists, you got all your traitors. If you swap over just the Iron Warriors to the loyalists, 40k wouldn't be as it is today. The loyalists would have stomped. And if conversely, if the traitors, didn't have Perturabo, they would have been just another upstart rebellion. Could you imagine the Siege of Terra without the Iron Warriors? For a fucking second,
I've written a AU about this subject, but I mean, it's I have opinions. I still think the traitors would be totally fine, but it just depends on who they are replaced with. Anyway, that's my tangent. That's what I was going to say.
Go on, Connor. Give him the business.
So, genuinely, if I this is like the most cracked theory that I have, but I think if the I think you guys are gonna agree with me on this. That say Roboute Guilliman was the one that gave Perturabo just a crumb of affection, and he was like, man, this guy's pretty cool. I'm going to hang out with him for a little bit.
Sure.
Say that was it instead of Horus, and that's how that kind of went down. Yep. I think that if Perturabo stayed relatively the same and did his job, his legion would have killed him. I honestly think there would have been a rebellion from his legion to him, just from a lore standpoint, because if you look at it, again, another analogy for parental abuse. He treats his entire legion like shit.
That's very true. Very true.
He expects them to operate with peak efficiency because very similar to Guilliman, he has the ability to basically see people for not people. He sees them as the trees for the forest. He doesn't see the individual. He sees them as like, hey, you are a space marine. You can put out this amount of output every day without rest. You should be fine. And when they cannot meet his very high and stringent goals, he'll kill them. There are times where he receives news in the Horus Heresy. One of the funniest moments. It's not supposed to be funny, but it's funny because so when Perturabo heard that there was rebellion happening on Olympia, one of my favorite scenes is, God, I felt so bad for that poor fucking messenger who had to show up and tell him. But like, he shows up and the messenger is like, I'm sorry, Lord Perturabo, I have a message for you. He's like, what's the message? I cannot tell you. What is the message? Sir, the captain wants to tell you. Well, if the captain wants to tell me, you can tell me too. And he's like, I don't feel comfortable doing so. Well, get comfortable really quickly. And that's literally the exchange, because it's just like, I don't feel comfortable telling you. And he picks the guy up by the shoulders, and it's Perturabo. And he's like, tell me, damn you. He's like, Olympia rebelled. And then he fucking juices him. Like, he just squishes him, like, in his hands. And it's horrifying. But he literally kills the messenger. So if he can't respect humanity and he can't respect, like, his, like, again, like, Barabbas d'Antioch, people talk about him a lot. Barabbas d'Antioch is, like, one of the most efficient and best captains in the entirety of the Legion. One of the best. Absolutely. One of the best pilots in the Legion, like, in the entirety of all Legions. He was able to outmaneuver fucking Perturabo himself at one point, which is insane to think about. He got demoted because he failed a campaign and survived.
Yep.
So if that kind of behavior was to continue, without some big kind of unifying tragedy, which is what the Horus Heresy was, it unified all of the legions and, what's the term? Weaponized their beliefs and made them think that, yeah, we are right in feeling this way. They became extremists in their belief that, yeah, we are brothers, we are bound together by this. If the Horus Heresy didn't happen, the Legion would have eaten itself. And it was happening during the burning of Olympia. They were starting to kill each other before the heresy even happened. Have you read the Perturabo, the Primarch book?
Yes.
I have not.
If you haven't, and if you have, you'll remember this. If you haven't, there's a scene where Olympia is being burnt to the ground because Perturabo is like, you won't listen to me? I'm going to kill every last fucking one of you. It was genuinely spiteful. He was angry and he was acting out. And in the city, there was like actual factions of Space Marines that were like, this is not right. I'm going to take this to Perturabo. And there were other factions that were like, you should listen to him. Yeah. They ended up fighting. So there would have been an internal civil war that broke out if the Horus Heresy didn't happen, because the Horus Heresy weaponized their beliefs. So too, yeah.
God, you've in the space of like 2 minutes of conversation, you've destroyed my romanticization of the Iron Warriors. Thank you, Mr. Bones 40k on YouTube. You have I have for years, since I got into, I shared some stuff with Moots earlier today about some of the first posts I made on Reddit about 40k.
Oh God!
For years, I have made a point of saying I love Perturabo, I love the Iron Warriors, and I am saddened and upset to admit that you, in the space of a few minutes, have destroyed, completely annihilated the romanticization I've had of Perturabo's Legion. You fucking melon. Sorry,
Hey,
I've just realized that in my introduction I referred to them as the 15th Legion. They're actually the 4th Legion. I'm actually I'm a moron.
I told you all that you were going to hear information that was going to make you uncomfortable. I didn't say when.
You know, you were. I didn't believe you. You said that, and I thought, yeah, he's flapping. No.
Well,
ladies and gentlemen, he wasn't flapping. He was warning.
Yeah. I will say, the rebellion wouldn't have succeeded because it's Perturabo. He killed a tenth of his legion just because they failed a mission before he even showed up.
Yeah.
He was going to win, so maybe there would have been a recovery. Who knows?
Well, we can sort of bring it down to the fact that Perturabo, whilst extremely effective and competent in a lot of fields, is a turbo autistic child who just can't handle criticism very well.
I just want to point out for the audience, at least 3 out of 4 of the guys on this fucking stupid ass podcast have a degree of autism, so please forgive Moots for his flagrant use of the A word.
Yep. That's at least how I see it. He lots of qualities, but big cons.
Can we please bring this, save some of my romanticization? We've obviously abandoned the pros and cons. Can we save some of my romanticization by talking about how big of a Chad, how wonderful of a human being, how lovable of a character Barabbas D'Antioch was?
Oh,
absolutely.
If you want to save your romanticization of the Iron Warriors, no, that's still there. Perturabo.
No, you're not allowed to.
Okay, I'm a very hot and cold person. I see the broad spectrum of their behavior because Perturabo is a child and a product of his upbringing, but in their in fits and bursts there is I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a wide hand gripping around a light bulb where, depending on the angle you look at, you can see the light shining through. And there are moments like that. Again, there was that tender moment where he had with his sister at the end where his sister's like, "You've become a monster." And Perturabo, instead of being like Perturabo, he was like, "No, you're right." And there was just this somber moment where he realized that he didn't want to do what he did. He realized that he is the villain of this story and he doesn't know how to make it right anymore.
Yeah.
His Perturabo's superpower is that he's able to immediately look at something and know how to make it better. That's an oversimplification.
No, or at least know how he thinks he should make it better.
Yeah, more efficient or something like that. But when it comes to people, that's kind of the defining moment where he realized that you can't make people better. They're just people. Space Marines in his eyes would probably be the better version of people, but that kind of started to translate to his Legion where they were there's the separatist side of it that were no, we can do it better by introducing kindness and compassion. And then there was the side that stayed with Perturabo that were no, they need to get better, not us. Yeah.
But it's really interesting you return to the comparison between him and the death of his sister.
It was a very impactful moment.
Oh, no, it was. No, it's brilliant. Moots and I worked very closely when talking about the beating Fulgrim received. Fuck Fulgrim. The beating Fulgrim received in Angel Exterminatus by Graham McNeil. And prior to Fulgrim's
Ascension.
I was going to say beating. again, but I wanted to think of another word for beating. Punishing, spanking, disciplining, repeatedly punching in the facing.
Getting sent on the fucking lightless walk. I don't know. What do you want to call it? The man was banished to the Shadow Realm. He had his head fucking introduced to his asshole in a very non-consensual way. The man got beat so bad that he decided, fuck you, I'm stabbing you with a knife that takes your soul away, you cock wizard, fuck you.
Oh my goodness.
It was a bad beatdown. There's a lot of ways to describe it, but in general, the man was missing a few ribs afterwards.
Listen, Connor, I'm not ready to have another laughing fit. You better shut the fuck up. I swear to God. But during that scene where where Perturabo takes Fulgrim's prostate and feeds it to him.
Oh.
Takes him to Pound Town.
Just instantly prior to that, as he's working on the model Warhound Titan, as he's describing it, he describes it in a way that wouldn't lead to an individual. He describes it with such reverence that he describes it in a way that wouldn't lead to an individual taking it and using it as a fucking face melting device like he does with Fulgrim. You know, and you see that same part of him come out in a small way when his sister dies. This conflicting part of his personality where it's Perturabo it tells the audience, at least this was my interpretation, it tells the audience that Perturabo was a character that was filled with the true and ultimate capability of love and was stricken from him by external sources. But then when you get into a conversation about Perturabo, you realize, and this is the part that I'm having trouble accepting, you realize that it wasn't stricken by external sources. It was stricken by himself. And that's what makes Perturabo ultimately, I hate to say this, but that's why Perturabo is a failure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it wasn't the Emperor's fault. It wasn't the fault of his brothers, and it certainly wasn't the fault of his fucking sister, nor that fucking Warhound Titan model. It was his own fault.
And that's what makes him such an interesting character.
Yes.
It is the Greek tragedy aspect of it all that he really encompasses so beautifully.
Yeah.
God, I fucking love that guy. Anyway,
fun fact.
Oh,
sorry. But yeah, another fun fact. His best friend was Magnus.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fucking... What? Whatever. Nerds unite. Whatever. You'd think an ultra-compassionate space wizard would look at this, like, Olympian Chad and be like, what a brute, and then walk away back to whatever fucking pyramid he came from.
Thoughts.
Yeah, but, like, if you read the Magnus Primarch book, there's just a scene where they're like, I swear, you could hear, like fucking Sabotage by, like, the Beastie Boys playing as, like, the plane's landing, and like, the door opens up, the music gets louder, Perturabo walks out, Magnus is like, yo, what's up? And then, like, they're fucking hugging, and they're in. They're so fucking in.
Well, Arthur, I'm so glad you bring this up, because this is another great reason why Magnus is just
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
It's really a perfect being if you're talking scientifically here.
Shut the fuck up. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. I don't have the strength. I don't have the soul. I don't have
flawless.
I swear to God, I'm going to disconnect you from this call. I swear to God.
I'll just jump right back in. You can't stop me.
Right, we're moving on to Lorgar. No puns. Stay away from Magnus. No one mention Magnus again. We're moving on to Lorgar. I'm going to the No. I'm going to the bathroom right now, and if I hear Magnus's name when I come back, I'm going to nuke Moots from orbit. I swear to God.
Okay, I have to use the bathroom too before we get to Lorgar because goddamn, I don't like Lorgar either. Okay, I'll be back, everybody.
Right, Aaron and Moot, we're bouncing. Carry the podcast for 2 minutes.
So it's so funny that they mentioned Lorgar, because guess who's also a really good friend with Lorgar?
That's Magnus. I know.
That's Magnus.
I love that guy.
Oh,
He's just magnificent. He's the biggest friend in the world. He could be the smallest friend in the world. It depends what he wants to be, but he's always going to be there
he can
for
be
you.
whatever you want.
He'll be there for you in situations you need him the most. Like you're making a delicate web project, he'll come through and help you. He's just a stand-up guy. I love him. Like a brother to me.
Like he just really cares about his brothers. He's such a wholesome family man, is how I see him. And honestly, that's just something we see so much of in all these wonderful traitor Primarchs. Just their care and their love for each other. Lorgar, absolutely one of them. Like, just see, oh man, his relationship with Angron, top tier.
Oh yeah,
it's just so fucking great.
No, I was going to say, also seeing these similar family man aspects in Mortarion. He loves his stepdad so much, he keeps him with him every day. Like, real close to his heart, like, right there.
Okay, I was me.
He keeps him right there, buddy. Like, he's a family man. So loving, so caring. He just doesn't have to show it. He's a bit shy.
Hi, I'm back. Are we shitting on Lorgar yet?
And that's why I love Magnus, okay?
Comically enough, Thousand Sons are one of my favorite legions.
Same.
Nobody's going to know what that is until the episode comes out, and I love the fact that you said that.
That's going to be wonderful.
We should get a message from Tom mid-edit and be like, you fuckers. Shut up, man. Go eat a fucking Big Mac. Right?
I'm back, you fucking fiends. Just in time to hear the phrase Big Mac. I know I'm being roasted. I'm going to kill you all.
Dog, I don't know why you like them so much. Big Mac is such a shitty sandwich.
No, you bastard. I don't like them that much. It's just that Red and these two troglodytes have been perpetuating the rumour that I seem to have a thing for Big Macs. I like the McSpicy. Thank you very much.
No, that's bullshit. Doing that trip we had recently, all of us were that. Me and Red were going to Mackey's.
You're taking the piss.
And we asked him. Red asked him, Tom, on the phone or a text, what do you want from Mackey's? And he went, Big Mac meal, large. And went at 2 because he needed 2 of them. And
I know,
okay, cool.
I said, I literally said after the fact, I was put on the spot because you were already in the fucking queue of the fucking.
Yeah, first thing that came to mind wasn't the McSpicy. No, it was the fucking McBig Mac, big man. Okay.
I didn't realize they were still doing the McSpicy. I was just put on the spot. So, fuck Big Mac. 50-50. I could have said McNuggets, you bastard.
No one just has McNuggets, okay? No one just does that. You're a sicko if you do that. I'm vegetarian saying that, alright? So shut up.
You're a troglodyte.
The first thing that came to was Big Mac.
You're a fucking troglodyte. I swear to God, after this podcast is over, I'm coming out of stains. I'm ripping your intestines out through your asshole.
Yeah, you've got 2 Mackies next to me, man. You get 2 Big Macs while you're here, right?
I fucking hate you sometimes. I swear to God, Aaron, you're a bastard.
It's a real issue for me. We shouldn't poke fun at it.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, so we are recording this episode in 2 parts, just because it was so long. We knew going into it was going to be too fucking long. Moose needs to go to bed, Aaron needs to go masturbate, and Arthur's got more...
I am quite ravenous.
Arthur has more commitments for the day. So, we will continue this immediately, but we will be recording it at a separate date, so we will see you in a moment. Thank you very much.
Let's do the time warp again.
Hello, welcome back, everyone. Aaron is killed in action whilst going to the loo. So we're continuing this without him.
Yes, so we are back from our brief break, and Aaron has succumbed to the most dangerous of Nurgle fates. He has become one with his lavatory. We may never see him again.
I remember that time in my life.
Oh boy, so where were we? I believe we were talking about Lorgar.
Indeed we were.
Yeah, pros and cons, Lorgar. This is going to be a list of good things, many numerous good things to say about Lorgar and the Word Bearers. Yeah, hot take. Lorgar isn't actually that bad. It's just the people that are around him that are just fucking awful.
Yeah.
Exactly. Not hot take, based take.
It's really interesting you say, 'cause
Right?
I haven't read the Lorgar book. But my girlfriend and I, we visit the local Warhammer store somewhat regularly, and we're good friends with one of the guys who runs it. I had a chat with him like a month ago, and I made one of the the usual Lorgar bad jokes, and he turned to me and he said, "You wouldn't be saying that if you'd read the Lorgar book."
Yeah.
And he went on to tell me about how Lorgar is actually one of the most relatable and understandable Primarchs out of like all of them, especially when it comes to his fall.
Well, that's interesting because I had a similar experience up until before I read the book, and I specifically remember I said like it was someone asked the question like fuck, marry, kill Primarchs, and I responded with kill a Lorgar, and I got a kind of an overwhelming response when I answered that by like, no, how can you say that? He's just a baby. He's
just a baby.
God.
he was just had bad people around him, and I was like, fuck, maybe that's true. And I looked and I read it, and I was like, yeah, fuck. And honestly, ever since, my opinion of Lorgar has just completely changed to being one of my favorite Primarchs.
Okay, I wouldn't go that far myself. I went from thinking, he's the worst to thinking, okay, maybe he's not that bad, which isn't that big of a leap, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, Corferon just fucking sucks. He's the fucking worst. Erebus, also not that great. He's basically like the Callous Typhon of the Word Bearers, where at the end of the day, a lot of the problems were caused by him.
Oh, well, of course.
But didn't Erebus kill Erda?
Yes.
I actually don't know that.
I do believe so.
Spoilers for one of the somewhat recent heresy books, I think, maybe?
Dog Erda is like a character that, in my mind, exists for 30 seconds to say, and then the babies were gone, and then that's it. That's the joke. That's it.
Yep. Yeah, you remember correctly. He stabbed her with his anathema blade.
Of course it's the fucking anathema blade. The thing gets so much mileage for no reason.
That's the thing. It's the thing that started it all, right?
Listen, okay, this is an actual hot take. I feel like we should just stop giving a single shit about, it's the ultimate, it'll kill you. If it so much as nicks you, you'll bleed to death forever. I'm like, we have like 1,000 of those swords. The Emperor's sword is so strong that it'll kill your ghost. The Horus, his talons, they're so steeped in evil that if they stab you, they instantly corrupt you. I'm like, cool. It's so fucking stupid. It's like, I have a shotgun that, like, if it shoots you, it's also coated in laxatives. It's like, cool, I guess. That additional effect is kind of cool, but you're trying to kill me, every other effect is kind of...
Did you shoot Aaron with that whilst we were on break?
Next question. No comment. Next question. No comment. Next question.
Give us some cons for Lorgar then. Give us some cons for the big bold fella.
Oh, dog shit lore. Absolute dog shit lore. No, genuinely. I think that because people are so... It is very much a hate mob kind of mentality towards Lorgar that I think it transcends into... like the writing itself. Like, good example. If anybody listening to this wants, like, can I shout out someone who isn't even a lore tuber? They're a voice actor.
Yeah, go for it.
They are a voice actor. I usually find their shit on either TikTok or Twitter. I don't use TikTok. I use Twitter, but like he uploads his shit from whatever. Christopher Tester. He is a voice actor who just does random monologues for characters.
I've seen his stuff. He's so good.
Really good.
He's so fucking good.
And he had this entire period where it was just like, I think he uploaded like 4 videos in a row that were just Lorgar speeches. Yeah. And one of them like really sold me on the character. But that's the thing. That's like one speech, and like that's like when Lorgar was sympathetic. And if you want to be not sympathetic towards him, just listen to or read like the speech he gave to Magnus before Armatura, which is like him basically saying, "Yeah, I'm going to kill an entire civilization to see if we can summon hell in real space." I'm like, cool. So the big con with Lorgar is, he's quite literally like the path to damnation exemplified. Like, doesn't matter how good your intentions are, it doesn't matter what his reasoning is. At the end of the day, he is doing horrible, horrible shit, and writers tend to only see that aspect of him instead of seeing the nuance of the character that's like, oh, I had seizures since the day I was discovered, and I didn't know those were psychic fits. So because of that, I was like treated like a freak, and I had to think that was like some kind of god interacting with me. They don't see that. They see ooey wooey chaos magic. Which sucks.
I absolutely agree with your take there, and as you say, it's kind of it's an effect of him. Well, since birth, literally being on the path of chaos, right? That's just the path was set for him, and it's. Picking up the nature versus nurture argument, but like he didn't have a choice, right? So he's really steeped in that, and it really affects his writing as well. Which is sad, because when you look at what he could be, his interactions with Angron, for example, in Betrayer, it's wonderful. I mean, he genuinely cares and loves his brother, and it's so genuinely wonderful, which I guess could be a pro if you look at it that way.
No, there's that sort of empathy of him. Yeah. I think, if I recall correctly, only the most scrupulous of his brothers actually disliked him. But it's interesting because he's going to come back into 40k at some point in the next couple of years, and you can bet a deep fried chicken nugget that he's going to be a caricature of these cons.
Was that a Corvus Corax joke?
No.
Sorry,
I didn't mean for it to be.
It is now. We're retrofitting.
Oh goodness.
I think if he comes back in the 40k setting, that's going to be a difficult thing to do, and I think that's another con that he's kind of been put into a writing stasis lock because GW has this tendency to want their models to be immediately recognizable as to what they are. Yeah. So you see, like, the best example is the Desolation Squad that they've released, I think, within, like, the last year. Yep. They have the big T-shirt cannon-looking rocket launchers. You can look at that immediately and be like, that is a guy with a missile launcher. That is a Space Marine. That is a good guy. You look at the Chaos Marines, and it's just like, oh, those are the spikes, the literal pentagrams, 8-pointed stars and shit. Yeah. Evil. Dwarves, the Leagues of Votan, oh, yeah. Dwarves, aliens, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But, like, if Lorgar comes back, I'm not saying he isn't going to look evil, but the thing is, if Lorgar comes back, Corvus Corax has to come back, because Corvus Corax's entire purpose for fucking existing right now is killing him. And I know that it's kind of up in the air if he is a warp entity, a chaos demon, or just a guy who likes birds and can summon birds.
Yeah.
But it gets a little more muddy when, like, they can't just ignore the fact that Corvus Corax exists and turns into a thing that's a bird. It's so fucking weird. Corvus Corax is just weird. But because of that, it is going to be a little bit difficult to do so. But I would be interested to see it.
I mean, we'll get to Corvus in Lichia in a few minutes. But there's sort of something about the combination of those two characters in the lore that I suspect will have something to play with their release as 40k tabletop miniatures, and that's, I reckon they'll do a double release. I suspect those two will come out and be revealed at the same time.
And that's kind of how they're going with it. Yeah.
Well, I'd like that. I'd like that sort of dual Primarch release as well. There's a model in Age of Sigmar. Now, I'm not sharp on my Sigmar lore outside of the most basic stuff, but I know for a fact there's a model in Age of Sigmar. When you buy the kit, you essentially get two models.
Yeah,
you
Morathi.
Excellent. And you know how Morathi works, where like Morathi can turn into this giant thing, right?
Yes.
I suspect they're going to do something like that with Corvus, where you'll have one model for Corvus as a Primarch, and another model for Corvus as this Imperial demon.
Right. That would be sick as hell.
That would be pretty cool, but that implies that GW gives enough of a shit about the Raven Guard to actually give them something like that. I'm not being a dick here. I'm being honest. Like, they're not Ultramarines. They're not Dark Angels. It's like now we're into like the fun zone where it's like, okay, we have Imperial Fists. If you bring Rogal Dorn back, which, come on, he's probably going to be the next Primarch.
Yeah.
Like, if they bring him back, then it's like the extras, the guys that like have like mildly niche fan bases, but like that would be the best way to go about it. I think that'd be kind of fun. Well, it
might feed into the idea of, again, a double release, because if these guys are all secondary characters, then why not two at once if you want the same sort of impact, you know?
Yeah, no, I think it'd be a fantastic way to go about it.
But I think you might be underestimating a little bit the sort of Raven Guard fandom, because we hear it all the time about how no one does White Scars, but as soon as you mention Jagatai Khan, everyone comes out the woodwork to say, yeah, fuck yeah, I love Jagatai Khan.
I have a hot take for Jagatai. We'll save that for when we get to Jagatai.
Well, that's we'll actually tell you what. Well, let's transition into that now, because our next Primarch on the list is Jagatai Khan of the White Scars.
We didn't do pros for Lorgar, though.
Yeah, we were talking about how Lorgar was a cool guy. All right, go on then. Give us some pros for the. Give us some pros for Lorgar.
I just think, like, okay, so cons for Lorgar. Very, very typecasty lore. He gets like short and he kind of gets the short end of the stick where people just see him as the mustache twirling villain, and he kind of is, but like he doesn't need to be like an interesting character.
Yeah.
Pros, genuinely some of the most interesting armor designs for the entirety of like the Word Bearers. I love like the Horus Heresy designs for them. Man, I kind of shot myself in the foot here thinking I would have more by the time we got to this sentence, but like, I successfully have wasted 30 seconds of your time, and that was my plan after all. Okay, Jagatai Khan.
Jagatai Khan, yes. Pros.
Speaking of mustaches.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful mustache. Definite pro.
Yeah. Biggest pro is like, Jagatai Khan is like first pass in my blunt rotation with Primarchs. He's the dude that like you give him that fucking grade A warp laced fucking chaos inspired purple kush, and you'd be like, man, he'd fucking hit the booth so hard that like he'd look at you and be like, this Zaza crisp. Hand it to Rogal Dorn next, because he's part of the rotation too. You want to see what happens there, and then he'd just tell you some like weird Chagorian story about how he fought a dragon with his bare hands, and he'd be the chillest dude the entire time.
Oh my goodness.
Show the scars and everything. I fucking love Jagatai.
That reminds me that we need to do the best or most epic Primarch blunt rotation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, Arthur, do you want to come back for that one?
Fuck yeah, I would. But I will say, my hot take about Jagatai is he is specifically the Primarch for lore YouTubers.
Oh yeah,
because like outside of like the lore YouTuber community, every single person's opinion is like, yeah, Jagatai is kind of cool, I guess, and that's it. But like, if you read about Jagatai, he's just like, dude, total dude, absolute fucking dude. I love Jagatai so much, but that's food for us. It's not food for the common man.
Yeah.
Jagatai going to be the next Primarch to come back? No. Is he even ever going to come back? I don't know, maybe.
There's one of my favorite parts is when he's fighting Mortarion.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's such a dipshit when he fights Mortarion, and it's so fucking great. He just keeps calling him a jackass, and just keeps insulting him, and like, oh, you feel like you're getting slow, brother? I'm still not down. Such a great dude. It's just he just has a lot of personality, and he's just kind of a free spirit and does whatever the fuck he wants.
Well, that's my favorite thing about Jagatai, and it's always been my favorite thing about Jagatai. He is so independent. You know, when the heresy started, he was like, yeah, well, I'm going to stick to myself for a bit until I decide what's happening. There was the whole thing where he went to Prospero with the White Scars, to be like, yeah, listen, guys, I know this is happening, but I'm going to go make my own fucking decisions. And he went to Prospero. Had to fight the fucking Sanguinius.
And also met Mortarion.
and also met that idiot. But he came away from that with Reveal Our Vida. The Thousand Son was like, don't worry, man, you can be an honorary White Scar, it's no problem.
Yeah.
You know, I know your Primarch is maybe here, maybe not, maybe fucked up, who knows? But you're a cool guy, you can come with us.
Meanwhile, fucking what's his nuts did the pog face, was like, really? And then they just put the helmet on him and they gave him a Towa and he's like, No,
he's
adore
super
him.
Inclusive, happy-go-lucky guy that just is just a bro to each and every one.
I'm gonna put down like what I think is like the biggest pro of Jagatai Khan, and I think it's honestly that like, well, outside of his legion, he's perceived as a bit of a savage, and that's intentional. He wants people to underestimate him, and that's why he makes the White Scars kind of act like that, because inside they are actually, I would say, probably the most human of all the legions, and he's probably the most human of all the Primarchs. And the best example I can point to justify that is we're referencing the Primarch books a lot, and by we I mean me, because they're like a good source of information for the Primarch's internal processes. And if you haven't read the Jagatai Primarch book, I would recommend it because it raises a very interesting and very humanistic quality about him, where there's just this one scene, and it was when he was invading. It was not the Nephilim, it was the Orcs. Yeah, there was the scene where they were about to fight the Orcs, and they're like, yeah. And Jagatai straight up says that, like, I grew up with all of the men that are in my retinue right now for Space Marines. These are my actual best friends and brothers. I am not their general. They're my friends. Like, we work together. Yeah. I don't know how I'm going to feel when they die. And there's just this, like, that's a very interesting musing that you don't see the other Primarchs talk about, except for, like, maybe the Lion. But even the Lion, like, the second Luther was like, I'm going to blow you up. He's like, fuck you, Dad. And then sends him back to, like, Caliban. But Jagatai Khan is like, I am genuinely going to be heartbroken if anything happens to these men because they're my friends. And later on in the book, there's this scene where, like, one of them, like, one of his closest confidants, I forgot which guy it was. It switches perspectives from Jagatai to, I think it was Tagatai Yasugai, who was watching, and one of the closest generals to Jagatai dies from, like, an orc war boss, and Jagatai looks at everybody in his army and goes, okay, step back. And, he's like, he activates, like, the fucking speed force, and, like, just like, it's like cut to, like, 5 seconds later, it's like 36, 37, 38, 39, and he's just, like, cutting through every single big fucking orc he possibly can, while the rest of the White Scars are like, he can do that the whole fucking time. As he does that, and I'm like, it's such an interesting show of, like, the non-positive traits of humanity, but it is a human trait. He's grieving through anger and catharsis. And again, this is a big pro. He's a very relatable character. Unfortunately, he's just, I just wish there was more. I think that's the biggest con. It's like, unlike Ferrus Manus, where, like, we got hints of things that are, like, really, really good, but we didn't get a lot of it. Like, Jagatai, it's like, you get just enough to make you go, man, I want more of this guy, and then, like, in the webblade, fucking an Eldar or something. I don't know.
That's a hella specific pick, but yeah, no, I know what you mean. I think it's a real shame because, sort of, bring it back to what we were talking about with Lorgar, when the Primarchs come back in 40k, it's really sad, but you can once again bet a deep fried chicken nugget that Jagatai Khan is going to be last.
Why are you doing this to Corvus? Why are you deep frying?
Well, we won't see Jagatai till the very end, and that's just going to suck, you know. I mean, I played White Scars throughout the entirety of 9th. And playing White Scars in 10th, complete waste of fucking time. Yeah. Complete waste of fucking time. Like, goddamn, if anyone on the tabletop could do with Primarch, please, you know?
Yeah. My theory is that, like, my hope, I know Jagatai is probably going to be, like, the last one to come back, because, like, White Scars are, like, the least popular, technically, of, like, the main legions. Yeah. They're still popular, like, in comparison to, like, successor chapters. Like, you're not going to see, like, someone who has, like, I don't know, the Fart Eaters is going to be, like, more popular than, like, the White Scars. But my hope is that GW respects the community enough to be like, yeah, next dual Primarch set that's coming up, because we had, like, we had Angron and we had the Lion, we had Guilliman and we had Mortarion. I'm hoping it's Fulgrim, because Fulgrim is obviously the next Primarch. He just is. We have to finish off the trifecta. We need to update the Emperor's Children. And Fulgrim and Jagatai, and I know that they don't interact as much as people think they did, but it's just the one line. It's just the... if they come back, it would be so perfect. It would be so awesome. It's not going to happen, but it'd be really fucking cool.
Just for that one specific line, I think it's totally, like... You could totally argue that they definitely have a rivalry and a beef just because of that.
They hate each other. It's Fulgrim is definitely the type to count the slights.
Are we talking about he said, you do funny things. I heard you do funny things to your bikes. Yeah. And it's like, I heard you do funny things to your men. Or something like that.
Yeah, and then Fulgrim immediately, like, red face, jumps the table, and every other Primarch's like, calm the fuck down. Like,
oh, God.
It's pretty funny. But, yeah, pros, he's, like, genuinely one of the most human Primarchs, probably one of the best written Primarchs. There's cons, there's not enough lore for him, and also he's probably going to be the Primarch that gets the less writing in the future.
Yeah.
Also, for painting white sucks. Like, it's just, we had to say it, right?
Yep.
God, I don't know.
Unfortunately.
I mean, on a painter's sort of standpoint, I spent about 16 weeks near the start of this year painting up some homebrewed Vet Guard, right? Lots of third-party bits, whatever. But I decided to do their coats in white. And that one sort of project gave me a lot more respect for painting white. And now I really enjoy painting white. I really do. It's like, once you get your head wrapped around it and you go, wait a minute, I can paint this white because I know how to paint white now. It's actually really good.
No, I completely understand. It's... So, can I go on a tangent about white?
Yes, you can.
Okay, perfect. I don't like distracting from the focus, but
it's okay.
A faction that I played for like a very long time made me realize that Games Workshop paints are like good until they are the fucking worst paint ever. But for those of you who don't know, now someone correct me if my voice is going on me. Sorry.
That Noises 2.0.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Games Workshop notoriously had the worst white paint in the history of fucking miniature painting, and that was White Scars White. It is chunky, it is powdery, it is whatever. And someone explained to me why that is, and I thought that was very interesting. And I found this out horribly because a faction that I used to play, I have so many fucking Space Marines. And I unified them all together to make one faction, and that was the Emperor's Spears. And you use Hoeth Blue, you use White Scars White, and those are two of the worst fucking paints I have ever used in my entire life. But it's terrible. It made me never want to paint them again. So now I divided all of my Marines up into like 3 different chapters because I have 3 different themings. But I learned, for those who don't know, you use mostly metals of some kind, or a metal oxide, to create the colors for paint.
Yeah.
And by show here, who knows what metals make white?
No idea. Not a clue.
There are two. The one that you're familiar with is titanium. Titanium is used to make white.
Okay.
And titanium, unfortunately, has a history or an issue with bonding with the liquid medium they use to make the paint, which makes it chalky and powdery. The other metal that they use is lead, which they can't use anymore because it's kind of a hobby they want children to engage with.
Yep.
So if you want a good white, it's why the better whites of GW's range now incorporate other colors, usually a gray. So, yeah. Fun fact for the day, I'm probably wrong, but that's how it was explained to me by the paint guy of my community. And that's why I also repainted every single one of my Emperor's spears as like raptors or some shit.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, don't eat lead paint.
I mean, you can. I'm not going to stop you.
No, I found out the hard way that White Scar was dog shit.
Oh, yeah. No, you learn quick.
And ever since then, I've been using AK's number 3. It's just so much better. I know red, I can't remember which one it is, but red swears by a different white paint. But bottom line is, if you want a pure white that's not grey or slightly tinted grey, just check out a third-party one, honestly.
Yeah.
Games Workshop paints
the best way to do it.
Well, absolutely. I mean, Games Workshop paints are so fucking hit and miss. I will swear by the GW range of reds, though. I really like Games Workshop's reds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they've not got a single red that falls flat at all. All of them are brilliant.
Absolutely agreed.
Yeah.
I used Coordinator Red for a lot for my Chaos dudes. All those red trims, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. It's really vibrant and nice.
I'm munching a Chicken Caesar wrap right now, so if I go silent, it's because I'm shoveling.
Beautiful. So yeah, Jagatai Khan, incredibly based, really cool guy. Honestly, because of his weird superpower, could probably 1v1 any of the mortal Primarchs, because, like, when you move at the speed of sound and you're already a Primarch, it's kind of hard to counter that. Even Mortarion as Demon had, like, a little bit of trouble with him. Not even a little bit of trouble. Didn't Jagatai win that?
Yes. I mean, he was, like, near mortally wounded, but Mortarion lost his entire head, so...
Yeah,
that counts as a win.
Yeah, it is a bit of a dub for the J-Man, yeah.
But the thing is, that's the great thing about Jagatai as a combatant as well.
Yeah.
Because to him, the fight isn't just the physical aspect. He knew that against Mortarion in a physical confrontation, he wouldn't just be able to rely on his might and hacks, because Mortarion had much better hacks.
Yeah.
So even before the fight had begun, he was like, okay, I'm going to win this, because I'm gonna defeat you in your mind, and then I'm gonna cut your fucking head off, and that's exactly what he did.
Fucking roast master, just like make memes about. It's like the Sun Tzu quote. It's like make memes about them till they cry, then make memes about them crying. Like that's literally just Jagatai Khan's approach to war.
What about cons? What about cons for the Khan?
He's perfect. He has no cons.
I got a few cons. Cons-wise, like, having a balanced personality in a 40k setting does lend to them being, and I say this with, like, a little bit of reverence in my tone, he can be a bit bland in some interactions. Like, because he's just a guy, he's just a chill dude. I know guys who are like Jagatai Khan, because he shits on his friends, and he, like, does it with, like, a lot of reverence. So there isn't much of a character arc that needs to happen. He's just a well-rounded guy from the start of the heresy, so if you're looking at his lore and you're looking at his character, he's just like, nothing really needs to change. He's just kind of cool. So he's a bit stagnant in that way. Alongside that, he does have kind of that, like, I don't even know how to put this. It's like, so There's a reason why in most anime, the anime Hyper Rage Finn Balor demon form gets retired and it's not done much anymore. It's because it's not that interesting. So when he activates the fucking Speed Force, it just kind of... A lot of times it did come off as like, I'm only going to lose until... And it always kind of came off as that. So that is a bit of a con if you don't like those kinds of things.
I'm only using 5% of my total power.
Exactly,
Well, it's interesting you say that, because we do a thing in the Discord a couple times a week called Homebrew Doctoring. Now, obviously, you know that the Astartes channel is very homebrew-centric. Homebrewing is really important to us. We do a thing called Homebrew Doctoring where myself and occasionally some of the other more homebrew-centric individuals will sit in one of these Homebrew Doctor channels, and we will take people one by one and sit with them and help them sort of improve their homebrews. If they want to make their homebrews more in line with the lore, or they're not sure where to go with it yet, yada, 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 whatever you think,
Gotcha.
One of the things that I find myself saying somewhat often, and bringing back to Jagged Khan, is to never, ever, ever write something about your homebrew that can be misconstrued or used as a Deus Ex Machina. Because when you have basically a Deus Ex Machina MacGuffin as part of your homebrew, the ability to have your homebrew risk anything of any value just goes out the window. There's nothing at stake anymore, And so, I mean, I like anime sometimes, but you're right, the trope of... I'm gonna go 9,000, or whatever. It's so overwhelmingly boring from a narrative standpoint, and despite all the wonderful things that make Jagatai so cool, I can certainly see why we'd say that's a con.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a minor con because, it is I don't want you to say it's the best version of that specific trope, because, usually with those specific tropes, it's like, I get super strong and super fast and could shoot lasers out my dick hole, but with Jagatai, it's just fast. It's what else? No, you don't understand. Fast. That's it. But unfortunately, he's also a Primarch, so it's not just fast. Because if it was just fast, okay, that'd be balanced. But it's a fucking Primarch. The man hits with the strength of a fucking freight train, so it's a fast freight train. It sucks, but it's still cool. I like Jagatai, but you gotta give him shit where he deserves it. He probably would appreciate it anyway.
We know how big the Primarchs are, right? Approximately, they're huge, right?
Usually between 12 and 18 feet.
I can already hear Aragon screaming at you at those saying those digits. But
what I do this time?
I will pretend that's a real measurement. Yes.
But could you imagine for a second how big the Khan's bike must be? His bike is the size of an actual train cart.
Oh God. It reminds me of again in the Primarch book when they're we had to find the biggest horse we could possibly find from him. Even then it was kind of small for him. I'm like, dude, that poor fucking Hans.
This is that character from Elden Ring.
Exactly. I mean, any fucking horse, no matter how genetically modified and fucking pumped full of steroids it is, it's gonna look like a fucking pony next to a Primarch.
Oh God, I need to remember. Oh, it's a shame Aaron's fallen down the toilet, because he'd know exactly who we're talking about straight away. Oh God, hold on, give me a minute. I'm gonna find out. I need to know who it is.
It's fucking every other White Scar's riding into war on a traditional war horse. He's riding on a Clydesdale that's been fed exclusively on a diet of steak and anabolic growth hormone.
It's Radan. It's fucking Jagatai is Radan.
Yes. Yeah, Radan, and his horse's name is fucking Leonard.
Oh my
god, it's pretty good. Yeah, no, I get you. I fucking again, I can't sing Jagatai's praises enough because he's. I think that says a lot about the setting where the best praise we can give to someone. I think this is the most universal praise we've given to a Primarch, and I think this is going to be the most universal because as a character, he's just relatable. He's just a guy. And I think that's the best thing you can say about someone. But again, it does lead to him being just a guy who doesn't need to go through a character arc.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm also going to show you guys a meme here. just to exemplify what we're talking about.
Oh no, I have to remember to put this on the screen partway into our fucking 2.5 hours into our 3-hour podcast. God, I definitely won't forget to put this on the screen.
In the open shot of the round table.
Oh. Poor Leonard.
Yeah, poor
Leonard. No. Great. Do I have to edit this so that Jackatai's face is
of course. Of course.
Well, thanks so much, Moots.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Let's move on to Konrad Curze of the Night Lords, the most deadly schizophrenic in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's oh, no. I'm just going to step back for 5 minutes whilst Cameron butchers this beloved character.
Did you just call me fucking Cameron?
I meant Connor. I'm sorry.
Did you just call me fucking Cameron?
I'm sorry. I reached for a name beginning with C. All right, I grabbed one. I grabbed the wrong
call
one.
me Arthur, for fuck's sake. It's fine.
It's easier.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's not like I don't start my videos with hi, I'm Connor. So like I get it. Like it's been burning your brain. It's Arthur. I think that's the biggest plot twist of my entire channel. It's like I'm like 60, 70 videos deep now, and they're like, actually, my name isn't Arthur. But what is there to even say about like Konrad Curze that hasn't been said before? I got a few for you. So for one, unironically, the fucking worst human being that has ever walked the face of the earth.
Yep.
He is just the fucking worst. I love him for it, though. He's one of the guys that, like, I swear if he landed on a different planet, it's all Nostromo, though. Like, if he landed on a different planet, he would have been a fantastic guy. But like the fucking shitstorm of like Nostromo being the worst and him being, he's got that Batman mentality. But unfortunately, Batman with Nostromo makes like evil Batman. It sucks. Konrad is just like this microcosm of the most interesting Primarch in my books because he's the only Primarch. Okay. I need to dial it back a bit. So, because like I'm going into like my pointing at my little cork board with all the pins in it and shit. And I'm just like, did you know there was a gem in his crown? Like,
he's still alive. His soul is still there. I swear.
Yeah, the Dark King. He was kind of so basically, Konrad Curze, where Jagatai Khan is a microcosm of the best aspects and the most relatable aspects of humanity, Konrad Curze is a dark mirror, a reflection of the worst aspects of humanity amped up to 11. It is the most unhealthy concepts of justice, vindication, and how the world should be ran, seen through the eyes of a person who can only see pragmatically. He, like, pros... cons, he is like the pros and the cons are just kind of one and the same with him. Because I'll just straight up say it: the Night Lords are the worst legion. Unironically, in like a straight ground fight, they'd lose against every other legion out there. But that's because they fight so differently. Where every other legion will fight you straight on with like bolt guns and swords, the Night Lords will pretend they're going to be doing that, put cardboard cutouts, and then like sneak away, wait for you to tire yourselves out, and like even if it takes like 2 days, a week, wait for you to go to sleep and then bash your fucking head in with a rock while you're asleep. Like that's the Night Lords, and Konrad Curze is the peak of that behavior. He's a piece of shit who believes justice for all, and justice is usually just torture and murder. But like pros, like the biggest pro I can give, and this is something that I think every Night Lords fan will agree with. Konrad Curze is almost kind of like Joffrey from like A Song of Ice and Fire.
Oh boy.
Where regardless of how bad of a character he is and how much you hate him and how much you know that when he's on screen or in the book, some like a character you like is going to die. that's kind of a good thing, because you know that something's going to happen that's fucking awesome or interesting, or that moves the plot along. Like, one of my favorite storylines is in the Curze book, where it's just Alien, the plot of Alien, but instead of a xenomorph, it's Konrad Curze, which is somehow fucking worse.
Or his fucking Joker arc during the Unremembered Empire.
Oh god,
it's absolute nutso. But I wanna preface it though that, I mean, now we're talking mostly about the pros and cons of the Primarchs themselves, but I'm actually gonna lift here something that, I mean, is still kind of related to him, and which is his sons, which unironically I think the sons of Konrad are, in my opinion, some of the most in-depth and, weirdly enough, tragically human Space Marines. I mean, like, just read the Night Lord's Omnibus, and like you will find what I'm not talking about right there. It's it's sort of a pro, I guess. They're just so tragic, but they when they do care, and they do have some sort of deep brotherhood and care for others. I mean, how much they showed care for the slaves on their ships, most of the time, at least, you know. But it all comes down to characters, and
I think you've actually nailed the biggest pro. You've nailed the biggest pro of the Night Lords, and that's that whilst they are dirtbags. They make for an extremely interesting narrative tool. You know, there's a predictability to all the other legions that the Night Lords and the Alpha Legion stand apart with. You know, you get to enjoy wonderful, and yes, I'm talking about the Omnibus, but you get to enjoy, you know, wonderful unexpectedness with the Night Lords. That the majority of the other legions couldn't even, you know, when the Dark Angels turn up to a fray, you know exactly what you're in for. When the Salamanders do, you know what's up. When the Ultramarines, yep, it's all the same. But when the Night Lords turn up, no one knows what's going to fucking happen. You just know someone's going to be missing a few pounds of skin afterwards. You know?
Yeah.
For sure.
I 100% agree. I think that, like, Curze as a character is, like, very individual. I think he's very much a lonely character. And I mean that narratively, and I mean that, like, personally, because, like, even Horus himself was like, yeah, that guy sucks. Horus said that. Horus, the Heresy Lupercal, said that guy's kind of mean. What the fuck? The only person who actually liked Curze, weirdly enough, Sanguinius, of all fucking people. But again, Sanguinius likes everybody. But
I think that was only out of empathy, because Sanguinius and Curze both had to deal with the old drain damage in regards to, you know, seeing the future, and so I don't think he liked Curze. I think where everyone else despised Curze or was disgusted by Curze, Sanguinius would go as far to pity Curze.
Yeah, of course.
It's funny that you mentioned Sanguinius, because Arthur, you mentioned your twin Primarch theory, and my first thought was that, even though I think you don't necessarily agree with this, is that Sanguinius and Konrad are the twin Primarchs.
Nah, I get you on that, and my corkboard is so crazy right now. You guys have no idea. So I'm gonna okay. So my theory about the twin Primarchs here is actually Konrad, and like it's like torn between two, but I'm like 70% certain it's Leman. Because the reason being is both of their legions and both of their like ideals are almost identical. They are both created to have a fighting style that is very different from the rest of the Primarchs and the rest of the Space Marines, and they were created originally to be the executioners of every of the legions themselves, to kill off other Space Marines, like legions, chapters, or Primarchs, if necessary, because they have to have an unorthodox way of fighting.
Yeah.
and it goes a little deeper than that, but you could also say something like Corvus Corax, but a fun... but that's my little head canon. The other one is Corvus Corax because Curze notoriously is incredibly jealous of Corax. And it's such a petty thing. And that's the thing with Curze. You can see it as a negative, you can see it as a positive, but narratively it's very interesting when his brothers show up and Curze's first instinct is to look at his brothers and be like, oh, they do this better than me. Oh, they do that better than me. And it's true, because Curze is kind of a piece of shit and terrible at everything. But also, he's a Primarch. He's great at everything.
Yeah.
Like, a good example, when the Curze was, doing, just girl things. He was eating people. And Curze, and listen, Corvus showed up, and Curze's first instinct was like, yeah, his eyes are blacker than mine. And I'm like, fuck. Because that's the interesting detail that people don't know is that Curze's pupils are just really, really big, and you can see the sclera, the whites of his eyes, actually from the corners, which is fucking horrifying. For some reason, Corvus's eyes are just pitch black.
Yeah.
But that kind of ties into which is either a pro or a con, depending on your perspective. That I'm sorry, I'm going to upset a few people. Night Lord fans are just they are a breed. They are a species that exists separate to our own that diverged from the evolutionary gene pool years ago.
Oh boy.
They are an aggressive sort. They are like I don't even want to say an evolutionary dead end, but like they're the type to look at like a Night Lord who skins like children and wears them as a funny hat and then makes them dance for a little bit as a joke. Like, they're the type to see a Night Lord, see Curze, watch someone shoplift, deglove both their hands, and then make them walk home with a bag made out of spiders and, like, barbed wire. And then their genuine response, like, the fans' genuine response would just be, he's just a little guy, let him be. He's having girl dinner, it's fine. Every single fucking time. It's just like they're the type of person to send a picture of like Lucorifus, the fucking mutant gremlin raptor who eats people and bleeds from the eyes.
Oh,
and
God.
They genuinely would like send this with like, he's just my little meow meow, and then send a picture of him.
It's the meow meow types. We had those, yeah.
And like I know this because I am them. Like, Night Lord fans are the worst. They're horrible / positive. Like, I mean that positively.
Oh, boy. Oh, goodness. Right, does that just about cover the pros and cons of the Night Haunter?
I do believe it does.
I like how for Konrad Curze, the pros and cons form a Venn diagram that looks like a circle.
Yes. Oh, man. Right, let's move on to the angriest anger whoever angered, Angron of the World Eaters.
I'm sad.
I'm gonna replace Arthur here. I'm gonna say he's a lovely meow meow type, and I love him dearly.
Oh, you're one of those. Keep going.
All jokes aside, I do really like Angron because he is such a tragic character, and it's hard to see his pros when the cons are literally nailed into his brain.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say any despite my fanboyism towards Angron, the truth is we're not talking about how he could have been, but we're talking about how he is.
Yes.
And so I'm gonna have to regrettably say that I don't think there's a whole lot of pros about him.
Well, it's interesting because if you want to talk about his pros, you could talk about the opening of what I believe was the Angron book when he was an Assyrian gladiator just prior to getting the butcher's nails. I mean, he was the only Primarch to My man had a dog.
Yeah.
He had a dog. You know, and it's just... maybe that's just a narrative tool to add to the tragedy of the characters. Like, first he has a dog, and now he's, you know... But there's... I don't know if this is truth or theory, but the notion that Angron was, at least at face value, meant to be the Primarch empath.
Yeah.
You know, the Primarch that was meant to be able to embody the Emperor's ability to understand and empathize with another individual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And even after he got the butcher's nails, even after he escaped the gladiatorial arenas and was able to sort of, you know, fight back in a wounded way, the only thing he cared for were the people that were loyal to him. You know, and even after those people were gone, they were still the only people he cared for.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And keep in mind, at this point, he did have the nails in his fucking head.
That's true. That's true, actually. He did go as far as going back to Nukeria just to, like, see about, like, how it was and remembering his fallen brothers and sisters. And decided to destroy all of the Nukerian rebels who had painted him and his people up to be these failed rebels and
yeah. So I have a fun story to give. Again, another anecdote, but with Angron, I always had like the same basic opinion of, like, you know, like what you see on the surface is angry, screaming rage monster, and then what you see beneath is like, it's kind of a sad thing, because basically, like, he was basically just Vulkan, but like forced to be on a different planet. But I talked to my friend about this, like a guy who knows almost nothing about 40K, and he did his own research into it, and he said something that, like, genuinely, I did not notice until he pointed it out. And it was that it's a really sad story because it's literally just an analogy for the cycle of abuse. Angron was forced to do all of these horrible things by the slave masters of Nuceria, and then he himself forced that onto... Well, he didn't force it, but, like, culturally, he forced that onto his legion, and that ended up destroying them. And now his legion is out there doing that to other random people to get more Marines.
Yeah.
It is just a self-perpetuating cycle of abuse. And I think that's really interesting. And I think that's a good pro that, like, it's a lot more deep than you'd think when you see the giant hulking red and brass rage monsters. And then you're like, oh man, they're actually, like, kind of a tragic figure. But it's unfortunate that, like, in terms of, like, an analogy, it's cool, but in terms of a story, there's not much you can do with it. So that's a bit of a big con. That, like, at the end of the day, there's no turning back. You can't rewind this. The only way you could do that is, like, if a perfect Angron clone suddenly appeared and didn't have the nails in, you could see what would have happened.
Yeah.
Gorsh, the dream.
yeah. But it is a bit of a con that, like, it's a good story, but it obviously is a story that's not going to end in any way that's satisfying.
No.
Well, it's nice to see that, you know, at least amongst some of the Primarchs, that a pro there is the notion of a cautionary tale.
Yeah, trusting Lorgar.
But you're right. It's really hard to muster up other pros for Angron, because the list of cons goes on for an eternity.
No, I get you. A good pro is, it's that same, like, kind of Joffrey effect for, like, A Song of Ice and Fire, where whenever he's, like, in a scene, something's going to happen. Like, Rogal Dorn, if he's in a scene, it's like, oh, cool, Rogal's here. He's like, fuck you, Nathaniel Garrett. Like that's kind of how it goes. It's like, even when something happens, it's like, okay, it's Rogal. But, like, when Angron's on screen, it's like it doesn't even matter. It could be like, he could be getting coffee, and I'm like, someone's gonna die. Someone is gonna fucking die. It's like, even when Angron isn't even in a scene, I remember there was one scene early on in the Horus Heresy where, like, they were having, like, okay, thank you, planetary governor who surrendered, and the planetary governor was like, yeah, fucking eat my dick. There's like 10 people left on the planet, assholes. And then there's just like a silent screaming that gets louder and louder as Angron explodes from a pile of rubble and just starts fucking killing every single person there. Angron's just kind of fun in that way, where you just don't know what he's gonna do, but you know he's gonna do something.
And whatever it is, it's gonna be very bloody.
Right? So it's a pro, it's a con, and like it's a pro if you think action is fun and like seeing things happen is fun. It's a con if you grow attached to people really quick.
Yeah.
It's both pro and con also if you just happen to love tragedy.
Yeah.
Right, should we make a move onto Corvus Corax of the Raven Guard?
Of course. Cons. Nobody actually knows anything about him. His lore. What's that?
Yeah.
Corvus Corax is a very interesting individual in concept, but in the actualization of who the character is, I find he's a character that exists specifically so that the Raven Guard can exist. And I know that's a bit of a brutal thing to say. You need to have a Primarch for every single legion. And I find that Corvus Corax's lore is very interesting. Him as a character who's like, I grew up as a slave. It's very parallel to Angron, where he was just forced to work in the labor camps, and he like mounted guerrilla warfares, and like because of that, he has like this mentality of like freedom at any costs, anti-slave shit, like oppression shit, which is really cool because it balances out with like later in the heresy, or not later in the heresy, but like later in the Great Crusade when he meets up with the Terran reinforcements or Terran contingent of the Raven Guard that were there. They're fucking maniacs. And because of that, there's this like interesting dichotomy. Then you have like the issues with like the Raptors, not like the Raptor 40k Legion or the Raptors for the fucking, I hate GW for naming things the same things. But like the Raptors, like the mutants, the mutant Marines that came up because the word bearers poisoned the gene seed that they were going to use to make new guys. And you had like this like loving father, and like there's this like, these guys are my dudes and they see me as their father, but like whatever. But I find his lore a pro. He's a very stoic and very solemn character. He's very understated, and his entire legion is kind of like that, where they are whisper quiet and they can say it more with a few words than a lot of legions can, like Primarchs can say with like an entire like filibuster. But that being said, there still needs to be more fucking words. Like, there's like so much there you can do stuff with. But like, then you have like interesting characters for like the Legion, like Nikona Sherikin, and like fucking, I didn't even know who the fuck Gareth Arendi was, but then like, fucking, Grimdark Half-Off, like introduced me to the character. I'm like, this guy's fucking dope. Like, and I'm just like looking at these characters and I'm like, these are really, really cool. One of these guys like literally was like, hey, I got a sniper shot on Fulgrim's head. And the guy's like, you probably shouldn't. And the guy like raises a single eyebrow, is like, I probably shouldn't. He's like, fucking do it up, bud. And then they just do it. Like, that's awesome. I wish I could do shit like that and just be that impulsive to be like, I could kill this guy right now and end like a big thing. And it didn't work, but like it was still pretty fucking cool that he tried. But the big pro is that like Corvus does not feel like every other Primarch. He is very stoic, he's understated, he doesn't need to be loud and boisterous, he lets his actions speak for his words, but he isn't like the laughing killer archetype that Jagatai is. Cons, there's just not enough. There needs to be more. They focus more on his legion's activities than him, and I find more times when he shows up in lore, everybody's reaction is the same every single time, where it's like, oh fuck, he's here. When the fuck did you get here? I've been here the whole time. Oh, cool.
It's really unfortunate that the most common defining trait most people associate with Corvus is the fact that he's become like an imperial demon, and
Yeah.
that's like the biggest highlight of the character right now. And to be fair, I'm not super well versed into his character. If Aaron wasn't dead on the toilet, he could have probably said, like, enlightened us with some more pros, because he loves Corvus. But no, it's if the one defining trait you have is something you did and it wasn't even during the heresy, and it's in a short story, then, you know, good for you, I guess. But it's
No, that was a very succinct point. I agree 100%. Really likes birds. Named after a bird. Named his entire legion after a bird. Named the armor set he wears after a bird, which is also his own name.
It's the damn Iron Hands syndrome, is what it is.
I think it's even worse than that, because, like, I don't even know what, like, his weapons are. Like, I know he has, like, the little fucking power claws, but I don't know what the names are. Unironically, I do not. But I can guarantee you, I will put fucking money on this. If I look these up right now, they're called the Ravenclaws. I'm just gonna say.
I'm checking it now.
Okay.
I bet you they're called the Ravenclaws. I'm calling it.
Corvus Corax war gear.
No, this was not the board device.
No, they are so. All the wiki. Yes, I'm using the wiki. I'm sorry, I've not got time to go pull out the Corvus Corax book. Just refers to his weapons as the panoply of the Raven Lord.
Panoply means his armor, so that means it'd be his entire getup.
Yeah.
1 second, I'll do you one better. I actually have the Horus Heresy rulebook.
Hey, okay.
Loyalist, we're getting the deep lore. We're getting the deep shit.
They'll be under his data sheet, won't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, this is going to be good.
This is going to be good. Yeah, you're not wrong. Emperors, children, Night Lords, oh, my beloved. Raven Gord, not an allied detachment. Okay, I guess we are going to be doing an allied detachment. Raven Gord, thanks, Battle Scribe, you're a great app. Oh my god, I mean, it beats paying GW for literally anything. Where the fuck? Okay,
we'll get there.
This is going to be This is going to be such a great bit if we find out they're literally just called master crafted power claws. Okay, Crusade Force Organization. Okay,
let's put some elevator music while we wait here.
Okay, let's go. Let's do this. Lords of War. Where the fuck are you, you piece of shit? Oh my god, why did they make this so hard? I'm getting self-conscious now.
We're committed to the bit now. We got to find it.
Yeah, we sure.
I'm going to try and find it with you. Hold up.
Allegiance. Loyalist. Okay, I'm a loyalist legion. Oh, cool. Nathaniel Garrow and the Raven Guard thing. I don't care. I just want. I love playing Death Guard with these things. This is actually starting to fucking infuriate me because I can't.
I think I found them. I think I found it.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah. Great.
I believe they're. So it still says the Panoply of the Raven Lord, but it's got another thing listed underneath that I think is actually what they're called.
Fuck this! I'm getting.
Oh no, that's his pistols.
Book. Where the fuck is this book? I got this.
No, it's called the Panoply of the Raven Lord still.
Oh no! I found him. That was. Oh no! Wait, that's his lightning. Yeah, his lightning claws, known as the Raven's Talons.
I fucking knew it. I got the book up too and everything. Corvus Corax, his weapon. His weapon is actually called. His armor is called the Sable Armor for some reason. What the fuck? What? The fuck?
Can you guess what his fucking jump pack is called?
Oh no!
Wait, I have it here. It's called the Corvidine Pinions. The bird feathers. His jump pack is called the fucking bird feathers.
Oh my Corvus, you unoriginal bastard. He's just, it's so symptomatic of what you were saying, though. Everything about him is just an afterthought.
Okay, so I'm looking at it here. Let's see what this is. Oh, his weapon! He's got a gun, too. It's called Wrath and Justice.
Yeah.
You dickhead. Fucking calm down.
Crawling in my crawl.
Oh, God, I hate this so much. I'm keeping this book because we're going to start shitting on other people. I got the other one, too, for the heretics, too. Or the traitor marines. Oh, God. That's
excellent.
So fucking stupid. Okay, so yeah, Corvus Corax. Interesting character, needs more shit, often gets typecasted as emo Raven Boy because he kind of is. But, fucking, sometimes people don't need to be interesting, you know?
Oh my. Right, gentlemen, let's move on to our last one. We have one left.
One left, holy shit.
We have one left. We have done the majority of the Primarchs. We have one to go, and that is Alpharius / Omegon.
Oof. Where to even start?
Okay, genuinely, I'm not going to start this by giving an opinion. I'm going to ask a question.
Okay.
What does everybody think of the shtick? The fucking, I'm Alpharius. No, I'm Alpharius. What, do you guys genuinely think that's a good shtick? Because I don't.
It's the only reason it's not good is because it's been used to death.
Yeah. Exactly.
But that's the only reason why anything's not good. And if it gets used to death more than anything else, then that also implies that it is good because everyone wants to keep fucking using it.
Yeah.
If you think that it's bad, and this isn't my opinion. This is just a sociological theory. If you think it's bad, that's just symptomatic of you being in this hobby for too long because you've been dealing with it for so long. You know?
Yeah. I look down. I start sweating. I start crying a little bit. Okay.
We're so old. No, I think I don't hate it, but I don't really like it either.
Right.
I think I'm more towards the I enjoy it category. I think it's a powerful tool, very specific for the Alpha Legion, which is, to me, what really makes them and their Primarchs by extension unique. And it's just blends so much into what I think as a pro of them. They're just absolute. The absolutely just bonkers, mind-boggling fucking Zinch level shenanigans that these fuckers get up to achieve any given plan. It's been a long time ago since I listened to the audiobook, but I remember an audiobook where there's this Alpha Legion who just managed to infiltrate a space station or something and spent months sabotaging a bunch of equipment and to make the planet go dark so they couldn't communicate to the Imperium about the incoming traitor legions, I think. And it's just somehow this one Space Marine dude, Alpha Legion dude, just managed to masquerade himself as a regular baseline human, and it's so dumb. It's incredibly dumb, but it's funny. It's just funny when these fucking trucks of human beings just goes, "I am Alpharius," and managed to hide among plain baseline humans. What?
I get you. That's kind of where I'm at. Because I'm as I mentioned before, I'm raw dogging the Horus Heresy. I'm going fucking dick deep into this series one book at a time.
No protection. You're
Absolutely
gonna get some
not.
Warp-born HIV.
I'm gonna wake up and cough up like a blast template, like a good 3-inch blast template. It'll be great. But I'm almost done Legion, which I think is book 8 or 9. Books somewhere between 7 and 9. I just next one I want read it. But side note, This book is taking me so fucking long to read because John Grammaticus is involved. That's the side note. I'm not gonna say anymore. I did not know who that character was. All I know is that so I try and keep myself as unspoiled as possible. So I don't browse Reddit. I don't browse social media for anything. I try to get as much first party knowledge as humanly possible. I've just heard every person under the sun just talk about how fucking awful John Grammaticus is, and I'm like, oh my god, you're right. But Legion, it's giving me a perspective on the Alpha Legion that I didn't have before. That the Alpharius meme is it's not in lore. It's a meme. It might still be a meme, but it's not. Because I'm going to be honest, I think it's bullshit. I think that, everybody is hyping up the Alpha Legion and gassing them up to be and they have, 6 billion members because they keep collecting. No, they don't. Fuck you. You're wrong. That's stupid. No. You're dumb. That's not how stories work. You can't just have an end-all, be-all threat that is going to win everything. That's just a massive fucking cope. They are just a squad of Marines. They're probably pretty big. They're probably Legion strength, but, that's still... whatever, they're splinter war bands because people forget, Dawn of War, that was the Alpha Legion. Lord Baal, Chaos Marine Supreme, that was Alpha Legion. As much as you don't want to, as much as that fucks with your fan theory, they're but they're actually double agents for Chaos. No, they're not. They're not. Fuck you, you're wrong. I'm calling it here. There might be some that are still loyalist. There might be some, because we did have that instance not too long ago in the lore where they found a cryopod that had a loyalist Luna Wolf in it, which he immediately was I need to go kill Horus, and then just the other Marines are dude, you gotta, he's already bye, I guess. And then he just dips it. But Alpha Legion and Alpharius, it's very so pros. The Alpha Legion, if you like CIA style shenanigans, they're a very good Legion for that. And same with Alpharius. Yeah. Because you can't talk about Alpharius without talking about the Alpha Legion because they're just an extension of him.
Oh, of course.
Yep. That's the whole meme. So the characters of the Alpha Legion, I find people do the same thing they do with the Word Bearers, where the individualistic Alpha Legion characters, they do have names, they have personalities. It's just that they outwardly identify as Alpharius to fuck with other people. I think it's stated in lore that even when they do the surgery to correct someone's appearance to look like Alpharius, they only do it 95-98% likeness of Alpharius, so that there's minor differences. And I think that serves a twofold purpose, which is to, one, differentiate each individual person in the Legion so that they actually can be what number are you? So there's that. And then also to fuck with people even further, because people will notice, because there's this scene where there's a bunch of Lucifer Blacks that are oh, that guy has brown eyes, that guy has steel colored eyes, and that guy has bright blue eyes. So the surgery isn't perfect. Weird. I think it's just to fuck with them to make them think that the differences are more significant than they are. But the problem is that this is a big con. They get typecast as that. People only see that, they're the CI spook archetype, where they're just we're playing 4D chess this entire time, and it ruins the majority of stories, or fan theories, because it's always just there's 10 different layers of a plan that no one knows the end point of, and it just ends with the Alpha Legion winning all the time because I am Alpharius and this is a lie, which it's bullshit. It's bad storytelling, and I think that it could definitely be better because there's good shit there. But
it's
absolutely,
it's very interesting you say that, because I've read some 80 or 90 homebrews now for our homebrew thing. And I have read more homebrews that are Alpha Legion based warbands that have given me more intrigue than the actual Alpha Legion
based.
And I don't mean to say that all Alpha Legion homebrews are exquisite homebrews, but because when you deal with pure Alpha Legion, you have to deal with so much hearsay, fuckery, and memery.
Yeah,
memery in bold, by the way. That what they're the actual essence of what they are gets drowned out quite a lot, and then when people end up doing homebrews of the Alpha Legion, you actually get a much more grounded idea of what it could be.
They're just an interesting Legion, and I think Alpharius and Omegon, there's so much more interesting things you can do with them as characters.
Yeah.
Because they're the basis for my twin Primarchs theory, where they are literally twins.
Yeah.
Of course.
They were just raised either together or had such similar likenesses that they had to be together. And because of that, it's like you can have so much of an interesting play on them, but GW seems to just not want to ruin their shtick of oh, we're like 5 levels ahead of you. But like the implications of like what this Legion is capable of is more interesting than what the actual Legion is, which sometimes is good. Like, good example in Legion, there's this scene where the Alpha Legion are just walking through the sensor lasers of like this base, while the Lucifer Black that was trailing them is just like, I'm dodging them. This guy's walking through them and he's not setting them off. That's fucked up, the fact that they're not actually working. And I thought that was more interesting because they never addressed that. I'm like, they haven't yet. I'm almost done the book, but they might. But and the implication is more interesting than what the actual scene is portraying, and that's the Alpha Legion as a whole. You don't see anything, and because of that, your mind fills in the gaps, which leads to all the memes and shit. And I think the memes, honestly, are kind of ruin the Legion because it makes you feel like that's the kind of thing that they are. And Alpharius just needs to have more characterization, or just a character, because he doesn't.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, the entire shtick of the Alpha Legion has become their personality, and to the point where having any form of nuance anymore is like, I think, way beyond. Like, we've passed that, and which is sad, because I think the closest we've come to any form of personality is in the in the Omegon book, and as well as the when they meet the Cabal, because then they are faced with a choice, a real choice, and then GW threw that fucking plotline in the fucking well anyway, so it's like, fuck, alright.
Unfortunately kept John Grammaticus, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's quickly list off. It's time for lift off, boys. Let's quickly list off the pros and cons of the Alpha Legion, because this episode is actually closing in on 4 hours long.
Jesus Christmas. Okay.
Have fun editing this, Tom.
Shut
up. Pros. Genuinely, like, up there with like Night Lords is one of the most unique legions as to what they do.
Yep.
Saboteurs, CIA films, just like a bunch of like intrigue and mystery. It's genuinely compelling storylines, but that ties into the cons, where the majority of the stories that are about the Alpha Legion are from the perspective of other people. So it makes it genuinely difficult for you to know anything about their internal thought processes. And again, it sounds like we're talking about the Alpha Legion instead of Alpharius when this is us giving pros and cons. But again, they're the same thing. Everybody's Alpharius. No one is Alpharius. It is what it is.
Exactly.
But
question.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, and that is definitely a con in of itself.
Yeah.
The fact that these 2 Primarchs have no personality of their own. That really has been showcased.
Yeah.
Quick question, gentlemen, just because my memory is suboptimal. Did we before we had our break, did we do Mortarion?
Oh god, we didn't.
We didn't. We did not.
All right. Right, gentlemen, 60 seconds. Mortarion. Pros, none. Cons, insecure, smelly,
stinky,
jealous, stinky, smelly again.
I'll be honest. I think, okay, I'm going to be the long-winded guy again. I think Mortarion is unironically the worst written Primarch out of all of them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I remember reading a book, and I think it was Flight of the Eisenstein, where they were like, oh, it's ceremonial for the Death Guard to drink a cup of poison with the Primarch, like the guy who did the best. And like they had the cup, and I was listening to the audiobook, and I remember doing chores outside for like my parents, because my parents are older and they're kind of, not the health wise, they're like, up in the air. And I was helping them, and I was out in the back just like splitting wood. And I remember listening to that book, and they took a sip, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, this is the corniest shit ever. And I said aloud, if this motherfucker says a fine vintage, I'm not gonna listen to the rest of this book. And I shit you not, like fucking clockwork, 3 seconds later, Mortarion's like, a fine vintage. And I'm like, yo, motherfucker. Corniest shit. And I get it. It's because it's a carryover from the old lore. You gotta have a Primarch for the Death Guard. And his name is fucking Mortarion, so he's gotta be a certain way. But, like, there's no nuance to the writing. And this is coming from a guy whose main faction for the last fucking 7 years has been Death Guard. Mortarion fucking blows. I hate how he's written. It's also very generic. That being said, pros, if you like cheesy writing, and like kind of like, yeah, what you see is what you get, Mortarion's great. Death Guard Legion, fantastic. Nathaniel Garrow, fucking Grulgor, fucking Callus Typhon, all interesting characters throughout the heresy. Nathaniel Garrow's just a fucking Chad. He went toe to toe. Like, he went up to Rogal Dorn and was like, bet you can't beat the shit out of me. And Rogal Dorn is like, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, lighting round.
Mortarion is just a terrible fucking character all around. I can't give him any praise. The fucking the whole part where it's fucking, sorry for spoilers here, Arthur, if you haven't gotten this far, but like when he, like, the whole point of him like going chaos to save his sons, and then later on just going, oh, all these guys in my, what are they called, the death shrouds?
Yeah.
It's like and he just goes, fucking slices them all in half to sacrifice them just to summon a demon. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So how much do you actually... He's just a walking ball of contradictions and...
hypocrite. A massive hypocrite.
Yeah. Which, I mean, to be fair, you like that? I mean, that's part of his character. He's a giant fucking hypocrite. But I sure as hell don't like him. He's a stinky boy.
Yeah.
He should have died in the toilet with Aaron, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. The absolute worst daddy issues out of all 21 Primarchs.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
It makes Perturabo look reasonable.
Right?
It's fucking dumb.
Absolutely
dumb.
despise him. And that's the worst part. I love the Death Guard. I hate Mortarion. And Mortarion is actually, his like writing and lore is so fucking bad that like I genuinely lost a little bit of interest in Death Guard after picking because I started towards the late end of like 7th edition, and when 8th edition came around, I saw the Death Guard and I was like, ooh, what's this? And then I fucking grabbed them, picked them up, started making an army, and then I was like, man, this is really cool. 2 years later, when I actually started to go really hard into the lore, every time I read anything about like Mortarion, I was like, wow, this sucks. And it just made me like them less. It sucks.
It really is. It really do be like that.
Yeah.
Tragic. It's tragic in the worst way.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But that's Mortarion, I guess.
Yep.
Gentlemen, so I believe that is it. We're not going to talk about the 2nd or the 11th. Sorry if anyone was hoping for any speculation on that. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
We were going to end this episode off with Moots and I answering some questions from the patron. However, I've suddenly had the thought that it's probably best to do that when Aaron isn't 5 inches in the toilet and Red's also here. So we'll hold that off for the next episode. But thank you, everyone, for making it through this absolutely insane... I'm pretty sure this episode is like 4 hours or just shy of 4 hours long.
Sorry. I talk a lot. I'm sorry.
Thank you again to Arthur Bones, aka Mr. Bones, 40k, for coming on for this wonderful episode about the Primarchs.
Thank you very much, man. Holy shit, it's been so great having you here.
No worries. I appreciate being here. As I said at the beginning of this, I know it's been like a long time coming. We've been trying to plan this out. I'm happy I could make it. I had a lot of fun. I am glad I'm totally not going to get shit for saying horrible, horrible things about every legion.
I wouldn't worry. Listen, when we do our optimal Primarch blunt rotation, we will get you back.
Fantastic. I'd love
because
to
that's
be
a fucking brilliant episode idea.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
So thank you again, everyone, for watching. If you are enjoying the content, please subscribe. Please have a look at the Patreon, and we will see you all next time.
Hell yeah. And no one's dying at the end of this episode.
No one's dying. Well, I mean, Aaron's dying in the toilet. Aaron's dying in the toilet.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Shit sucks. I mean, you know.
Shitting does suck.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I've heard the phrase taking a shit, but I mean, I'm pretty sure the shit took him, so.
He's passing that oddly shaped package Red sent him.
Oh,
that
no.
may or may not be pipe bomb shaped.
Oh. Oh my.
Oh, no. Oh. Right, let's end it there, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. We'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Good job getting to the end of this particularly long Astartes Anonymous episode with Mr. Bones 40k. If you're enjoying our content, please consider subscribing or looking at our Patreon if you want to have your head on the wall behind me like these fine fellows. We also have pages on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok that we'd appreciate it if you considered following. Have a wonderful new year, everybody. Thanks for watching. Till next time.